Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Pick a Side podcast. This is episode 550. We are live from San Francisco. We attended Media Row this week, and boy, do we have some stories to tell. This is going to be a pretty entertaining episode because we got to talk about the NBA trade deadline. We have to talk about the big game. We have to talk about our lovely sponsor, Poly Market. And we got to give our predictions for these things, fellas. We got to give our grades for these trades, but we cannot just ignore and leave out what has been a beautiful Media Row experience and what has been life-changing and what has been a transitional period for myself in this trip. Something I was not expecting. Sometimes things in life happen unexpectedly. And sometimes things in life, like, destiny arrives all the same. Quote from Thanos, right? Marvel, Infinity War, I believe. Destiny all arrives the same, and maybe it was always meant to be. I'm wearing this Jets hat. I brought it with me on a trip just because I thought it looked good with this specific outfit. I brought this shirt to Media Row today. I didn't bring the hat. I forgot it because we got kicked out of our Airbnb early. That's a story for another day.
We got kicked out, or
no? Joel just didn't book it correctly.
Well, I'm saying, but this B&B that we got, we got kicked out. Yeah. So, come on, way to throw me on the bus. My bad. But we met a ton of legendary people today. We met the Gary Vee, diehard New York Jets fan. We were waiting for him for about 30 to 40 minutes to finish an interview with Fox Sports. And once he finished that interview,
we jumped.
We went up to him, and here's what happened.
Looking at all your content, just motivation stuff.
Thank you, my brother.
Yeah,
Thank you.
But I do have to say something to you. I need to come clear to you, okay?
Yes.
You're not going to want to hear this.
I want it.
Because Woody Johnson owns the Jets, I decided to take a stand and stop being a Jets fan.
You're right. I don't like this.
And I talked to Sam Darnold a couple of days ago, and I told him, I said, do I have your blessing?
Yes.
And he told me, yes, of course. You can root for me. You can also root for the Seahawks. But what he doesn't know is that I made my decision because I called that Jordan Love was going to be a great quarterback. They called him a bust in his first 3 years because he didn't play, and I said he's going to be great. So then he panned out. That was my victory lap. So then I decided
Your victory lap in life is calling Jordan Love being a decent quarterback?
No, a great quarterback.
Great.
Yeah, it's one of them. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to be a Packers fan because there's emotional attachment there.
Okay.
But if you ever own the Jets, I'm coming back.
Couple things. The level of disrespect I have for you of jumping off is very high. I need you to know that. 2, I am humbled, though, in return. And when I get them, I will take you back in open arms.
Okay.
Number 3, I need you to watch the clip and see the fucking anger in my face of you jumping off because adversity, my guy.
Yeah.
Adversity is the foundation of success.
Okay.
Amen, Gary.
Not understanding how losing actually helps you.
Yeah.
You winning with the Packers, if that ever happens, which I'm not so sure it will. But
Probably
if it
won't
does,
either.
Winning the whole thing, you'll be winning games. But if you win the whole thing, it's going to feel cheap, my guy.
Yeah.
Where'd you say you're from?
From Hackensack, New Jersey.
Yeah, but you're not from fucking Wisconsin.
My mom, when I was younger, bought me Jets gear, and since then, Lavernius Coles, playing with them in Madden, Mark Sanchez, I got his action figure in Jersey. Listen, I understand
I got a big idea.
Okay.
Why don't you commit right now to my face, not through a video or something random or some bullshit Jordan Love story. Why don't you commit to come back to the Jets right here, right now?
Wow, this, Gary, you
This is
don't
a very
know how
big
big
moment.
this is.
This
is gigantic.
I'm going to make it very simple for you. This is the most important moment of your action. Everything from this point on will map to what you do here.
You hit my heart. I'm shedding tears. I'm back.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh my God. You can't go back on that.
I won't.
You're back.
I won't. I won't.
Sam Darnold gave him the stamp of approval.
I love Sam. I love you. You know I love you, but I had to bring him back. I had to bring him back home. He's a Jersey boy.
My friend Riv right there, he was just telling me, we all know you're a Jets fan still in your heart. And you were able to get that out of me. Riv, come here.
He's back. He's a Jets fan again. Rip, you didn't have to watch the video. I went deep into his heart. I went deep in there, and we pulled him back out. We talked about his mom. Like, we went in there. Rip, I honestly, no bullshit, because I also looked in his eyes and told him that this call dictates his whole future. And I think he is a Jets fan now because he doesn't want to be a losing human.
Yeah, that's a good.
Gary, you could argue the Jets make you feel like a losing human.
No, it's the reverse. I actually think I'm an unstoppable human because I am a Jets fan.
There's no adversity like the New York Jets.
Could you imagine? Do you know how bad I feel for these fucking Patriot fans? These Nepo sports fans? Could you imagine being a Nepo sports fan, be 29 and win every title in all 4 sports, and think that the last couple years without going to the Super Bowl meant anything? Like, do you see these delusional children from Boston?
Spoiled.
So
you could argue.
It's not honorable.
He's back. He's back.
I gave him the stamp.
I'm 100%
so he's
sure
back.
he's back. Yes.
And this is on. I'm back. I'm 100%.
On God,
This
right?
is yes. I will never go back on your
You
word.
know a lot.
You know, we've been.
Well, you don't understand.
It's every week,
What
multiple times a
means
week.
to me.
What year were you born?
I was born in 1998.
Yeah.
I have watched every play of a New York Jets game since 1982.
Woo! You see nothing.
I've watched
Really
all
seen
of
a
that.
lot of nothing.
You see
I watched all
Hey,
of it.
2009, 2010.
Never forget about that. Thank you, Gary. Thank you.
Oh my God.
So you're a Jets fan.
Yo,
so good.
Yo, first of all, what a fucking legend.
He's so goated.
Okay, listen.
We need the post. All right.
Okay,
John. We need the post game interaction.
Yeah.
So it's official.
Yeah.
You are a New York Jets fan for life. I shouldn't be here. Dels.
Joel.
Absolutely. And listen, I want to apologize on camera to Dels. I want to apologize for all the negative things I said, for all.
No, Zach Wilson and Gary Vee. That's what it is. Zach Wilson and Gary Vee.
You know, Gary Vee had to tell me to my face, what you're doing is messed up, isn't honorable, and is cheap.
Not that we haven't told you that every single episode for the last 18 weeks.
If they win, it's not going to be something that really sits with your heart. It's not going to feel like it was really you. But I think this is what my buddies have been trying to tell me all along is like, man, the Jets are you. And I brought a Jets hat with me on this trip. And it was a sign, probably.
It was. You know
It
what?
was a sign.
I gave you a lot of shit for bringing that hat, but you know what? You're gonna go home. You're gonna have that hat on, and you're gonna feel rejuvenated. You're gonna feel a renaissance in your life.
So, Joel, how does it feel? Once again, a New York Jets fan.
It feels great.
Wait, are you still a Packers fan?
No.
You're back to where you were basically a year ago, Jets fan, but you love Jordan Love and you love the Packers.
Back to the offseason.
You know you can still be a Packers fan, right? Like
No, this is deeper than that. You know, Jordan Love always has my love. No pun intended. And the Packers, I really do appreciate all the Chiefs heads out there, the Packers fans that have accepted me and embraced me this year. I really do. I also appreciate the Seahawks fans that have also tried to embrace me. And Sam Darnold told me that, of course, I can root for him and I can root for the Seahawks.
Do you hear yourself right now? Like, do you hear the words coming out of your mouth?
It's actually nuts. Like,
I live a crazy life.
You choose this life.
The choices you've made over the last 7 months have brought you to where we are today.
But I did not expect for me to bump into Gary Vee and him to tell me and basically give me the ultimatum, like, yo, listen, you're either in or you're out. Because I told him if the Jets are if he becomes owner of the Jets, he said he'll welcome me back with open arms. But he said, you know what, make that decision right now. Enough of the games, enough of the BS. Make that decision right now. He said enough of the Jordan Love bullshit story, which I love Gary Vee, but it's far from a bullshit story. It's a feel good, great story.
I didn't say that when we was.
Oh, because I can't cut him off. The man is busy.
Wait, so Dell's word wasn't law. Gary V's words.
Yep. It doesn't matter what I said. Doesn't matter what you said. Doesn't matter what Drew says. If Gary Vee says it, if Sam Darnold says it, someone who first interactions ever with these people. By the way, we've known this man for years. You've known him for damn near his whole life.
Yeah.
But Gary Vee says it. It changes everything.
It does. And it's surreal. It's a real moment. And Dels, you've been trying to steer me in the right path, and I really apologize for all the things I've said about the New York Jets. I hope you have it in your heart to forgive me somehow, some way. But we were just talking about it before we did the podcast. I was showing you Jets mock drafts, and I said Carnell Tate at 16.
Oh my God.
like it. Like, I really like it, but I got to do something. I got to do something to make it up to Jets fans everywhere. Listen, I don't really read the comments. I really don't. So maybe somebody will keep me updated on why'd you make that face?
I already know what the comments are going to say.
I don't know what it's going to say. I haven't read them in a long.
No, I know exactly what all the
Packers fans are already through.
Joel, you said Packers fans, thank you for welcoming me with open arms.
I do.
You said
really
Seahawks, thank you
it.
for welcoming me with open arms.
Listen,
Jets fans, closed, brother. They want nothing to do with you.
I have to make it up to the New York Jets fans. So I'm giving away some tickets for next season.
Okay.
I'm giving away some merchandise. I'm going to make it a point of emphasis next season to do right by New York Jets fans and make sure that I make it up to you guys with some gifts. It is bribery, but they are gifts and they are something. But I wasn't playing. You know, I tried to be the best Packers ambassador this past season.
You were.
And I feel like I was.
Well, what was your report card again?
I gave myself an A.
An A. Okay.
My rookie season
Well, your
with the
loyalty,
Packers.
we could drop that grade.
It's really
F as hell.
not often you leave after your rookie season. But this is
almost never.
Yeah.
Literally never.
This is like
Unless you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing. Which, in
Unless you got
theory,
kicked out the league.
is something you probably did.
but I really appreciate all of Packers Nation. I try to be the best ambassador possible. You know that I'll continue to speak the truth about Jordan Love and the team moving forward. And I only, you know, from a distance root for you guys, but I cannot be a part of that community. I'm a Jet. I'm a Jet for life.
Jet for life.
And that's what it comes down to.
But life is frying.
Is there any world where like this changes next year?
Yeah.
Nah, I give Gary Vee my word. I can't go back.
What
on
about
that.
Your
Did
word
he
even
what
mean
about
anymore?
what
No, no,
about giving
trust
me
trust
your word?
Gentlemen, he cried.
He did cry.
He cried.
He cried for Zach Wilson and still left.
Yep.
But
Zach
that was
Wilson's not
after
on the
Zach,
team.
He left.
Yeah, Zach's
he
not
left.
on the team.
You still got love for Zach?
Of course I do.
Okay.
This was a lifelong dream of Joel in a way that I'm sure was an exchange he never anticipated. He never anticipated his first interaction with a hero of his would be basically him saying, I'm sorry, I betrayed you and all of Jets Nation. And Gary Vee had to be real open and honest with him. And he hit him with a harsh reality. What you're doing is disgusting. It's horrible. He even mentioned your mom. You spoke about it with your mom. Sorry, that got me. Nevertheless, you felt it in that moment. You understood what he was saying. It hit you.
What Dell's been trying to
Because
tell you,
it was real life. But again, it doesn't matter about Dells. Dells is, like,
correct. Damn.
not that it's like nothing against Dells. It's
He's
just
not important, yeah.
it wasn't going to move Mr. Moran.
No, clearly.
So,
Yeah, nothing again, because I remember very vividly. There's a difference. The way Gary Vee approached it, he was discussing with me, obviously. He told me that. But he also said, I forgive you. It's like somebody going to church and being in front of the pastor and repenting for their sins, and the pastor saying, listen, all of the things you've done have been disgusting, but you're forgiven. And that's what Gary Vee did for me. Yeah. Dells, when he asked me for the last time, like, ultimatum, you want to be a Jets guy, he was like, he gave me stipulations. You remember that?
Remind me.
The stipulations was, number one, I'm the Jets fan on the podcast. He was very mean about it. It made me spite him and hate him even more.
You were very rude to Dell.
But with Gary Vee, he
Anything
just
Joel
welcomed
did
me.
was
I would love some context just on why I had to set rules and boundaries about the Jets and your fandom with him.
But long story short, I'm back as a Jets fan. Media Row has been an amazing experience. I mean, today was probably the best day. We're recording this Thursday. We have one more day left in Media Row. We've collabed with a lot of people. Stay Hot Podcast, Benchwarmer Brand on YouTube. Mm-hmm. We met Big E. We met Charlotte Flair. And
Lord, did we meet Charlotte
Flair. Drew believes that if he were to ask Charlotte Flair on a date in that moment, she would have said yes.
It's time to get serious, gentlemen. I'm dead serious when I say this. I felt something. Now, I could be chatting. It's possible. Dells and John can vouch. I saw Charlotte Flair. I'm actually going to talk to the camera because they've heard me talk about this legitimately all day. It's the only thing I've talked about since it's happened because it was genuinely.
We got in the car. He made
Non-stop.
3 phone calls
We heard
to
the
his
story
different
3
family
times.
members
Yeah,
and
yeah.
talked about it for an hour and a half.
Then he talked about it to us.
I also called Alexandra, to be fair. As long, if you
Then he
guys know
told
who
Jess, so
Alexandra
we
is,
had to
that is
hear
my
it
girl.
again. You know what I'm saying? Then he said it again, and then again, and he kept saying it.
I
He's gonna say it again.
the world needs to understand the moment that we had.
It'll be great.
Charlotte Flair walks by. I realized. I said, "What the?" The aura was obvious. It was evident. Like immediately, I knew the presence was felt. The queen was in the building. Saw her. Said, "Charlotte Flair." She turned around. She gave like a quick. Then she saw me. Made heavy eye contact. Dell's vouch.
Yep. No, there was definitely a little bit of tension.
She turns around. I said, "Charlotte, I'm a big fan. I acknowledge everything that you do. Like, you're a legend." She said, "I really appreciate it." I said, "Were you a football fan?" So I sparked up a little bit of a conversation now. I didn't panic. In that moment, other men would have panicked. I saw my moment, and I decided to seize that opportunity. Little conversation. Sure, I'm not regular. I'm not going to be nervous. I'm going to talk to you like a normal human being because that's what you deserve.
Yeah.
I'm not regular.
And
I'm
small
not regular.
talk makes the drawers drop.
Done with the perkies. Oh, I feel like it's working.
So
a good one.
So instead of asking for a picture, I subtly left her with the conversation because she told me she was a Panthers and a Rams fan, and I apologized. I gave her the condolences on the loss. I said it's unfortunate, but we had a great interaction. I said, "Well, it was great talking to you. I appreciate you giving me the time." That was it. So when she walks away, she goes to do her podcast with the Bella Twins. Shout out to the Bella Twins. And I'm camping out. I'm like, you know what? Like, I'd be damned if I don't go at least ask for a pic. So I wait. It's like a good 20 minutes. She finishes her interview. She comes out. She passes hella people. She walks by a minimum 10 people. But she sees me, stops. We rekindle another conversation. I said, "Listen, I didn't want to ruin a good interaction by asking for a picture." In that moment, if I had said, I didn't want to ruin a good interaction, but instead of asking for the picture, I said, "Hey, I didn't want to ruin the interaction, but what if we met up for dinner later tonight?"
I wish you said that.
In my heart.
Just to see the reaction on her face.
In my heart, I genuinely believe there was a 25% chance.
Wow.
He bumped it.
No, Dell's gave a percentage. I'm giving
I
mine.
gave 12. Mine was 12%. There was something there.
What's yours, Rivs? What's your percentage?
You know how like
Riv wasn't locked in. He wasn't locked into the moment. No. If there's anyone, it's Dell's and it's John.
Yo, I love you like a bro.
Okay.
So I'm gonna tell you the truth.
Let's hear it.
It's like a 3%.
3?
Yeah, bro.
That is bigger than 0.
It is bigger than 0.
Now, if I was anyone else,
If she was rich, you probably.
I'd be like, all right, charge to the game. I'm me.
Yeah, you.
I'm sexy. If I say so myself humbly, respectfully, gotta love yourself. Genuinely, gotta love yourself.
Of course,
love
humbly,
yourself.
humbly,
If you're watching this, love yourself. Appreciate what you see in the mirror, because that's what God gave you. I look in the mirror and I know what I have.
Can't stand it, bro.
I genuinely think she would have at minimum thought about it and been like, you know, I'm not looking for something right now. And I'm kind of her type.
Looking for some young.
I'm kind of her type.
You know what I mean? Beat down real quick.
Yeah, so then I tell him what really.
I asked for a picture. She said yes. I asked her, and I regret it. Genuinely, I do. I wish on everything I love. I wish I said, let's meet up for dinner later tonight. I do because
Where would you take? Yeah. Where would you take her?
Hey, walk us through this. What you was wearing?
probably,
First of all, when you got her number, like, how does that go?
No, easily we had to exchange details. Be like, hey, you know, like here's my number.
No.
No,
Uber
I'm minimum. I'm getting a chauffeur
Black.
exactly like, yo, we got the real deal. Escalade, something exclusive. Like she can't, because I'm sure she doesn't want to know she's on a date with me. Like, you know, like she wants it to be a private night. Let's just me and her on the town. Huh?
Are you breaking sobriety? If she's like, let's have a glass
If she
of wine?
says, yo, let's have some wine, again, I'd be fucking dumb to not at least have a glass. But like I said, I said what I would have done was I would have pulled it out. I said, Charlotte, come on. I asked you out. Pull out the card. She hears that, and I'm in. She knows she's not fucking with a broke boy. Like, I think genuinely there was a route where this could have been the single greatest night of my life. And for that, I'm going to have to sit with that for the rest of my life. I'm going to hold on to that. It is what it is. But we had a moment, and I'll cherish that.
And in saying that, because it didn't happen, we're here recording episode 550.
Correct. Quite literally.
And we're here, and this was an excellent experience. We'll probably get into more details, maybe like on a Patreon exclusive episode or something. Make sure you guys go subscribe there. And also, if you want to check out the full Gary Vee interaction, it's going to be on Patreon out right now if you want to go check it out.
On Patreon, tough.
Yes, it's a 7-minute interaction of us just talking with him. So if you guys want to go check it out, it's on Patreon. We're going to have some more content there behind the scenes and probably even record a podcast of us just talking about our whole experience. But we're here for business because the big game is this Sunday. It's Patriots and Seahawks. We haven't given our official prediction for it. We haven't really previewed the game either. And before we do that, shout out to our sponsor, Poly Market.
Let's get Poly.
Now, Poly Market, there's really two burning questions that we're asking them because they have different markets on their application. The first market is who's going to be the MVP of the big game. You know where my head's at. You know, I'm going with Sam Darnold all the way. I appreciate his offer of extending his hand to join him and join the Seahawks Nation. But I'm going to be at a distance as a Jets fan, and I'm going to admire him, and I think he's going to do great as a former Jets quarterback. I have a lot of admiration for him. And Sam Darnold currently right now is the favorite, according to the public on Poly Market, to win the MVP at a 44% chance. That's Sammy boy, Sam Darnold.
It's because he's a quarterback.
Going to be at a distance.
What are you talking about?
You said I'm going to be a fan from a distance. Why?
Because
Sam, former Jet.
It's not Green Bay no more. You don't have a rivalry with the Seahawks. It's the Jets. They have nothing to do with each other.
Oh yeah, I'm rooting for Sam for sure. Yeah,
All Jets fans are rooting for Sam.
Yeah, sure. Like, why from this? Be great with it.
I can't. I'm not a part of the 12s, is what I mean. Like, I'm not a 12. You know, Sam Darnold told me I can be.
Yeah, so why?
He told me, but I'm not. I'm a Jet. It's as simple as that. I'm a Jet.
I'm a Jet.
I'm a Jet, bro. I'm a Jet, bro.
Oh, Jesus
Oh,
Christ.
goodness
Yeah,
gracious.
I don't know how many more like years I could take of this,
I
bro.
don't have any more months.
Okay, hold on real quick. Over under 0.5 team switches for Joel Moran.
Ooh.
Under.
What's the odds? What's
Yeah,
the
no.
odds?
Under.
Drew knows this is for
Even
life.
money. Minus
Under.
110 each
Yeah.
side.
Minus 110 each side, he said.
Even money.
Minus one, even money?
Even money.
Even money is
So the mortgage.
On the
Under.
under.
Yeah.
He's not switching back
No.
to the Packers.
Again, I want to reemphasize. He cried. He cried. He's not switching.
Okay.
Okay.
Anyway, Poly Market.
Let's get Poly.
Who's your MVP?
Oh, so also I want to say this is interesting. You can call it the SB all year long. You drop content the week of, we have to start calling it the big game.
pretty
Obscure,
funny.
fine, whatever. But let's talk about the big game. My Super Bowl MVP.
Whoa. big
Usually,
game MVP.
you redacted. My big game MVP. Sorry, week of. Interesting, because this indirectly reveals that we are discussing who we believe will win.
Yes.
Because more often than not, aka every single time, the winner of the team
Makes sense.
gets the player chosen. I will be rooting, like my life depends on it, for the New England Patriots. I'll be damned if I root for Seattle. Kevin Anthony Schmidt, I'm looking at you. Nevertheless, I do believe Seattle wins. I do believe that means that not Sam Darnold would be the MVP. But I do believe somebody on that defense will be a game changer, will be that much of an impact maker. I'm going with DeMarcus Lawrence.
Right now, that's a 1% chance on Poly Market to happen, according to the public.
And defensive players don't often get that award. It's extremely hard to do. You have to have one of those games. But going up against one of the worst offensive lines we have in the playoffs, the Will Campbell obviously has not been at his best, especially playing through injury. DeMarcus Lawrence is going to be on a mission. It's his first time in this high leverage situation, being in the Super Bowl. Left Dallas specifically for this reason. I have a feeling he has himself an amazing day. I was torn between him, Leonard Williams, but I just think that edge presence is going to be the difference in the game. And I think DeMarcus goes out there and he has one of the better games of his career, and he stamps an amazing career with Super Bowl MVP left in that Lombardi.
I could see a defender winning it. The story for the most part for Seattle seasons has been the defense. So it would make sense that carries over into the big game going up against a big opponent in Drake May. My big game MVP, It's not going to be Sam. It's not going to be JSN. It's not going to be a defender. Kenneth Walker is getting this big game MVP.
I love that award. That'll be difficult because this rush defense with Milnes.
It is, but I mean, also the Patriots defense have made every single quarterback look terrible. Given the level of quarterbacks they've gone up against, Justin Herbert has played terribly in the playoffs throughout his career, or played poorly. Maybe terrible is too rude. C.J. Stroud is a bottom 7 quarterback in the NFL, probably entering next season. And you went up against Mr. Stidham over there in Denver. So you are going up against a talent in Sam Darnold who has looked good in these playoffs at a minimum, specifically this most previous game, throwing for 300 yards against the Rams, going toe-to-toe with Matthew Stafford and securing the win, of course. But I think Kenneth Walker is going to get plenty of opportunities. We know Sharps is out around the goal line. He's going to be the goal line back in the passing game. We know he can rip big explosive plays in the passing game. If he gets 1 or 2 of those, 50, 60, 70-yard plays that we know he can get at any given game, I think Kenneth Walker is going to have that moment in this big game on Sunday that makes you look and say, wow, he changed the momentum. He changed this game. It was 3-7 before Kenneth Walker hit that 70-yard touchdown. Now it's 14-3, and the Patriots are down and dead. So I got Kenneth Walker winning the big game MVP.
That's an 8% chance on Polymarket according to the public. He's averaging 130 scrimmage yards per game over the last 3 contests.
He's been special.
He's been amazing. He's playing like a great running back. Riv, who are you going with?
I think my big game MVP is probably going to be JSN. I think the game plan for New England should probably see Gonzo, chasing him around. But I just think JSN capping off a OPOY year with the Super Bowl MVP would be a pretty dope year. He's been able to dominate damn near every matchup he's played against this year. And then the way that they're able to move him around on the field, have him coming up in running back sets, have him on the outside, have him in the slot. He's just so versatile. He always finds a way to touch on 90 yards, 100 yards. I can see him having a big game, especially with Sam Darnold. That's going to be his go-to blanket. They always find a way to get JSN open. So that's going to be my big game MVP.
Let me just say, I know all of us roundtable just went and chose Seattle. You did go with Sam Darnold, correct? I'm not mistaken?
I did.
Okay. I say that to say I'm not counting out New England in this game. New England, at the minimum, is going to make this a gritty, tough defensive battle. New England's defense has been statistically one of the best defenses in the playoffs, but the difference maker has been Milton Williams and his impact, not only at obviously getting pressure, but where we know what he is elite at is stopping the run. When he's not playing, they're a bad rush defense. When he's playing, they're one of the best rush defenses in football. And we see the level that he's playing at in the playoffs is an even higher level than what he showed us in the regular season. I don't think it's going to be an easy one because, again, the Patriots match up extremely well defensively against Seattle. Seattle has done a great job of having the run kind of allow the pass to thrive in those situations because of how effective Ken Walker has been. But opposite sides, Christian Gonzalez. So JSN's going to have to be his absolute best, which of course I'm expecting. This is one of the best, arguably the best.
As good as JSN yet.
Not wrong at all. But this is where the addition of a Rashid Shaheed becomes massive. This is where Cooper Kupp in these big game situations is massive. You need one of those two guys to have their mark left on this game because Gonzalez is going to be at his best as well. I know that for a fact. He's shown us all year long that he is one of the top 3, at worst, top 5 corners in the game. His man-to-man coverage is as good as maybe anyone not named Pat Surtain. It's going to be a tough matchup for Seattle because, again, the New England matches up with every quote-unquote strength that Seattle has had up until this point. This is far from San Francisco's defense, a much healthier team. This is a little bit better than what the Rams have shown because New England's secondary is stronger. My concern with New England is how are they going to be able to score points consistently? That's really where my pushback on New England winning goes to because it has been hard for them to put up points, and unless they're forcing turnovers, it's going to be tough for them to do. But if there's a quarterback who has turned the ball over, it has been Sam, except for these last 2 playoff games where he's been damn near perfect.
Well, it's a tale of 2 teams that are winning in ways that they weren't winning in the regular season. The Seahawks defense has been I wouldn't say carrying them, but it's been their strength all year, and it's still a strength now. Sam Darnold, first half of the season, was playing like the best quarterback in the NFL. But the second half, he dropped off, and then he dropped off to being bottom 10 in QBR for that stretch. But in the playoffs and then against the Rams, he had arguably the best game of his career where he threw 3 passing touchdowns under pressure. That was as many touchdowns under pressure he had from week 9 on in the regular season. And then the Patriots defense, I mean, they were solid in the regular season, but they weren't this good.
They're amazing right now.
And now the way that they're playing, it feels like it is a defense that can win you a game. And the Seahawks' interior offensive line is susceptible with Jake Sundell and Anthony Bradford. Gray Zabel's a rookie. I think he's solid, but he's still a rookie. And Christian Barmore and Milton Williams are one of the best interior defensive line duos in football. So it is tough for them to go up against them. I do think that there is a way that the Patriots win. I do think that it mostly involves Sam Darnold not taking care of the football and turning over the football. But overall, I think Seattle is just a better football team. And I'm banking on this scheme that they've implemented with the heavier personnel. I'm banking on Kenneth Walker having a big game, especially against the Patriots linebackers that are a bit susceptible in coverage. And Rashid Shaheed, I think his presence on the field as a receiver, but also in the return game is huge. And he's like the obscure MVP pick for this game. Mm-hmm. Like if there's like one guy that isn't a mainstream dude, it's like he can take a punt to the house for a touchdown or a kick return. He can have a big play on offense. Like I wouldn't rule out him having a big day, but I do think the Patriots deserve a little bit more respect in this matchup. I don't think it's an afterthought. I don't think it's just Seattle. It's locked and loaded. They're going to win because New England, they have a quarterback that hasn't played well in the playoffs, but he can turn it up, and we know that he's a great quarterback. They have a defense that's playing at an elite level, and their receivers, they have just enough. We'll see. They're going to get tested a lot against Seattle, but, you know, it is a matchup where Riv mentioned this against the Broncos when the Patriots played them, but it is a matchup that feels like it is going to be dictated by who takes care of the ball better, and whoever has more turnovers is probably going to lose the game.
I think I talked myself into picking New England, honestly.
Really?
In this game, who do I anticipate to be better between Drake May and Sam Darnold? Again, the way New England's defense has been playing this postseason, I get it hasn't been against the cream of the crop offensive lines. It hasn't been against the cream of the crop quarterback play, of course, going up against Jared Stidham. But it's been locked down. It has been one of the more impressive parts about this NFL playoffs.
Just don't know how to score.
But honestly, in theory, Nick Imanwari being banged up coming to this game, that's huge. Yeah. That is gigantic. Stephon Diggs has been waiting for this moment. I think he has himself a huge game. Kayshon Boutte, we know that what he can provide down the field. I think that it's not out of the realm of possibility to see him have a deep play down the field. Hunter Henry being a huge part, that'll be a little bit more difficult because then we know that Seattle's linebackers are really strong in coverage. But I can see Stephon Diggs making this one of his games where he goes out and balls out. You saw what Kyron and Corum were able to do in that second half. Ramondre Stevenson's been playing some of the best football of his career. Like, I can really see it, not trying to discredit what Seattle has done, because we understand what they've done all season has been by the backbone of that defense being elite, their pass rush being great, their rush defense being great. They're coached by one of the best coaches in the National Football League. But New England has the answer for what Seattle's strengths are, and that's Christian Gonzalez, and that's Milton Williams.
But how can they score?
Drake May just needs to take care of the ball. That's the one thing that you could say that he struggled with this postseason. He played a clean game against Denver, and that was enough. As long as he takes care of the ball, they can get into the end zone with Ramondre Stevenson, Stephon Diggs. It does not have to be a high-scoring game. I don't see this being a high-scoring game. This could be a 21-17 game, genuinely.
It could be. Football, obviously, just comparatively to basketball, the sample size, especially in the playoffs, is just so small that we're looking at New England, and it's like they haven't been able to move the ball basically all playoffs. Drake May's been turning the ball over. The offensive line has been terrible, and the defense has been so good. And it's not it's a bit of a 180 compared to what it's been in the regular season, where the defense statistically was good, but we didn't really trust it, and the offense was clicking with Drake May playing at an MVP level. But now we have these 2 to 3 games for both teams where everything gets flipped on their head, right? I think Seattle's defense, I still think it depends really with Eamon Warrior, right? If he's really banged up and he doesn't play, it changes a lot. But he did say, I believe, at Media Row today that he's going to be playing.
Saw him limping.
He is limited, so that's at least a good sign. They've let up more than 24 points 3 times this year, Seattle's defense. Twice was against the Rams. Once was against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers back in like week 5 or something.
And that was when basically half their defense was injured too.
Yeah, so this is a defense that we know how great it's been. It's just some of the biggest, most important games of the season, right? The Rams game was that Thursday night game that goes into overtime. Then, of course, last week, it's like, holy shit, you're able to move the ball. And it's really just been the Rams who have had continued success at going up against this defense. And the Patriots, I just don't know what they have shown you recently. Again, small sample size in these playoffs, but I don't know what they've shown that you trust this offense being able to move the ball. And they've been getting away with it because the opposing offenses just have been so terrible. And you have to give respect to the Patriots defense and what they've been able to do. They have the talent on the defense and they have the coaching staff to be able to have these type of performances. But to me, it feels more likely that Seattle is competent on offense. They haven't gone up against a competent offense throughout these playoffs, right? C.J. Stroud was god-awful. The offensive line for the Chargers was god-awful. Then you played a backup quarterback in Bo Nix, and Jared Stidham. But in a one game, obviously in a 1 game sample, anything can happen, right? Drake May should be healthier too. He's been playing banged up these last couple of weeks. He's a full participant in practice with the shoulder injury, so he should be healthier than he has been in weeks past. But I mean, 2 weeks ago, Seattle won 41-6 against San Francisco, who just went into Philly and had a pretty decent offensive game against a defense that we thought was probably top 5 in the league, right? So I still think Seattle is just on a different level currently than New England is. That's not taking anything away from New England. I know New England fans have felt like they've gotten disrespected all season long, and you're in the big game, and I get that, but I'm taking Seattle. I think they have just been at a different level from week 1 through, the conference championship game, really on both sides of the ball. I know Sam with the turnovers, that's one thing you could point at and say, well, Drake didn't do that, but Drake's been doing that in the playoffs. So it's going to be a good game. I by no means think that this is going to be a blowout. I do think New England's going to be in it, and I do anticipate it being a bit low scoring because both these defenses are playing so well.
And before you go, Riv, on Polymarket, 68% chance Seattle wins, according to the public, 32% on New England. So it 7-3 split. It does feel like a lot of people are like, I think it's going to be Seattle.
It's because the underwhelming competition that the Patriots have faced up to get to this point. And that's fair to a certain extent. I think the domination of the Chargers, it's a lot more impressive a performance than people are giving them credit for. Again, not many people have performed well at all against this Chargers defense. It's been one of the best units in the league. Drake May was pretty good considering the turnovers. And one, again, was a tipped interception that was basically in their red zone. And they only got 3 points. They only got 3 points because that defense has just been playing at such a level. Now, this Seattle offensive line is better than what it's been, but it's not the end-all, be-all. It's still the offensive line that the Patriots can get pressure on Sam Darnold and make him uncomfortable. The fair question is, what do they look like offensively? But Drake May is due.
He's so due.
He's due for a good game.
I mean, but against this defense, I just like the Seahawks defense is a defense that I trust. Mike McDonald with 2 weeks of prep. I just feel like they're going to be extraordinarily prepared for this matchup. I think the keys for Seattle more so lie on offense. Like it's an obvious key to just be like, you got to turn over Drake May, you got to make him uncomfortable. But I think Seattle, to negate the interior defensive line of the Patriots, a lot of rollouts, a lot of under center plays, which is something that Seattle has run all season long. 12 personnel looks to get those linebackers for the Patriots to cover those tight ends. And those tight ends like A.J. Barner, he can really block and he can pass catch too. So I think Clint Kubiak has shown he can design a game plan, and you've seen Sam Darnold every game against the Rams get better and better. In this recent playoff game, not only was it a great Sam game, but it was a great game plan by Clint Kubiak as well. They protected him amazingly, better than any of the previous matchups. And they found a way. Like, I think the Patriots defense, they are hitting a different gear right now. But I do sort of align with Dell's, which like the offenses they've played have been inept. The Seahawks offense isn't inept. They have a good quarterback. They have an elite receiver. They have a great play caller that's probably going to be a head coach in a couple of weeks. So like I'm going with Seattle. I understand the world with New England, but I just feel like Seattle is the better, the more dominant team. All the numbers lean their way. When you look at DVOA, they're number 1 in the NFL. Like, this has been the best team in football, and they eliminated what everybody thought was the best team in the Rams.
That's fair.
You know, I feel like this is probably how people talked about the Giants going up against the undefeated Patriots. Where they were just
I know people are kind of talking like the Patriots have no chance.
Yeah, they're just like giving New England no chance, and I get it. You know, it's the teams they've played. You know, with Seattle, you mentioned a cool little stat where the Rams are the only offense that's really been able to get it going, and that's with Stafford, Puka, Tay, Sean McVay, Kyron Williams. You know, and obviously New England is a couple steps below that. And, you know, just looking at it from all phases, I think defensively, Seattle's been one of the best defense, if not either them or Houston, best defense in football. And we saw how Houston's defense made them look. Granted, the score probably looks like it was a good offensive game from New England, but it wasn't.
They got 14 points from the defense.
Yeah, CJ was just so terrible and awful giving them the game. Houston's defense was able to really make things uncomfortable outside of a couple big splash plays from Drake May and his wide receivers. I think Seattle can cause that same problem, and I don't think Sam Darnold is going to have 5 disgustingly bad turnovers like CJ did. So if he doesn't, you know, you get a good JSN game, good Sam Darnold game. I think this could be a comfortable win for Seattle. I think they're just better on both sides of the ball. You know, I think the Rams game gives you life, where a big-time game, you can probably trust Sam Darnold. At least for this run. With Drake, he just hasn't played super well. You know, the Chargers, it's a good win, but I feel like their offensive line was so bad. Herbert in the playoffs, you still don't know what that is. You know, I think that one was kind of like, all right, like if it was any team that was going to beat the Patriots, I didn't feel like it was going to be the Chargers. But the next 2 opponents, like Texans, Jarrett Stidham, that one was unfortunate because we definitely wanted to see Bo Nix versus them.
Amen to that, brother.
Yeah, and I think Seattle, just on both sides of the ball, they're going to be better prepared. You know, I think 2 weeks of rest for a defense this good, you know, it's giving flashback vibes, and I'm sure you know it of Denver versus Seattle, where you see, you know, a type of defense that's get this type of rest, they can put belt to ass, and I think this has this type of talent.
You don't have to do that, brother.
I'm sorry.
Before we go on to the NBA trade deadline stuff, because a lot did happen, didn't get yours, Riv, your favorite moment at Media Row so far. Do you have one?
You know, honestly, you know what's my favorite moment, genuinely? I think my favorite moment is, like, because realistically, I don't know half these people that is at Radio Row, you know, and I think my favorite moment was probably Jet for sure. Just feeling it. Like, sometimes you feel it. Like, I'm sure you guys felt it, but like,
I actually wasn't near there, so I didn't.
No, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
Like you feel it. Like it's something that you definitely is like, you hear about it, when you feel it. It's like,
that was awesome.
It
was awesome.
It
was awesome.
Blowing in where you're like, wow, this is what, like, I'm sure this is what Odell was like in like 20 whatever it was at the peak of his prime. Like, bro, the aura was, you felt it. You
Just
know,
some respect, please.
But
please?
just, you know, watching us be great in a good environment. You know, watching you guys
Real.
You know, be in your environment, you know, meeting all these cool people for you guys, and just John getting his moment, you know, Drew getting his moment, Joel getting his moment, Dell's getting his own moment, even Jess getting her moment. Like,
true,
just,
real.
You know, the whole week, everybody's just finding their proper way to get their moment has been dope to see. I'm happy to be here. You know, I'm happy to know that our managers did their thing. You know, shout out to them too for sure.
For sure.
Getting us here. And we've always said that. You know, just get us into the right room. Get us into the right room.
We'll take it from there.
Shit going go the way it go. Good first learning experience. Good learning curve for sure.
I love how every day it's just been like
been
slow burn,
awesome,
but
better.
we're really just starting to cook.
I thought that today was gonna be shitty. Didn't eat all day.
Good lie, so did
Today was
I.
gonna be brutal. Got sweats on. Crib was crazy. Had to leave in the morning. It was aggravated.
Yeah, that's
John was farting in his sleep and shit. Like, I thought
He said he was concerned about you. You were like
I
choking in
thought
your sleep.
Today was gonna be rough, but it turned out to be really awesome. So I'm excited. Hope tomorrow's better.
A underrated cool moment was Coop and Reed Blankenship walking down the middle of
Fucking
Media
demons,
Row.
man. And fuck whoever that guy was. They was like, yeah, he talking about some, they gotta go get an interview. Coop like, nah, come on, get the phone.
Nah,
like,
Coop and Reed were. Coop was real, but then you were funny too. You're like, yo, Reed, you got to get in this. But I think Reed respected that you didn't just acknowledge him. You acknowledged Reed
like,
too.
Just Coop, like, I
Saw
love
Dean
both my
too.
white boys.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was N'Kobe Dean.
I
Fact.
was like, N'Kobe, he was like,
So
saw
pretty
Brandon
much-
Graham and shit too. That was dope.
Facts. We got to pick with Brandon
Shout out
Graham.
to Graham
It's just
too.
about passing the ball and making sure you score, and that's what I feel like we did. Like, we got into the rooms and we had a bunch of great questions. Media day, first day, the press conferences with the players and stuff, and then media row. First day was pretty awful. It was just a game one LeBron game, feel out. And then after that, it's just gotten better and better. And, our management...
I don't appreciate that.
It felt like a light jab. Light jab.
What do you mean? It's a common analogy. LeBron James game one, fill out game, not his best game. But then after that, he turns
You said
up.
pretty horrible though. Like
You did say pretty horrible.
those are the
Or
words
you
you
said
used.
something. Yeah.
LeBron James game ones are usually.
I'm not getting into this conversation. all
Thank God.
right?
I mean, there's a lot of like
Not
game
getting
one
into
Felt like a
this,
weird
all
stretch.
right?
It did feel like
You're
a-
trying to get me to whine on the
he said this
podcast.
game
It's
won
not
LeBron
going to
multiple
happen.
times. It's true.
Yes,
You
yes,
said
Drew,
it multiple
Drew,
times.
Drew also came to a realization when we were in Korean barbecue about how he whines.
I'm gonna be honest.
He hadn't realized
It was
for years.
it was earth shattering, and something that you anticipate that your boys be up and honest about. We're doing this podcast for 5 years. Finally, I guess I asked the right
This is the
question.
first time you've ever asked us to be fair.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'd hope that your boys just tell you, "Yo, bro, fix this." Never knew that me just being emphatic in disagreement could be seen as whining. Now, I understand how that can be perceived that way. No. When you say it like that, I just can't help but laugh because it's so true. It does sound
It's
like
actually
whining.
hilarious.
Sounds like whining. I'm gonna try to stop. I can't promise it. It's who I've been for 27 years, I guess. Or I guess let's not count the first 4 because you're barely a human at that point. But geez, man, it was pretty eye opening.
Woman, man.
Yeah, some bullshit.
No, yeah, dude, it was funny. It was definitely a funny moment when you were just like, you know something I hate? I hate when people like say I whine. Yeah. And then I just look at Riv, and Riv's face is like.
No, in fact, I was definitely like,
And you guys didn't say anything. You're just looking. I was like, I gotta break the fucking news to Drew. I said, you sometimes have whining tendencies.
you said it in such a political, nice way, though. It was good. It was
Sometimes you have to ask the questions you
do.
don't want an answer
You
to.
do.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to do that. And it was deserved. It was fine. I accepted it. We move on. We're going to try and be
good. We
better.
was at the table.
But I'm not going to lie. It's been a question I've had for such a long
We
time.
was at the table and Jess was like, I have like a fake phobia of shrimp, right? So I'm just like, okay. So Joel's eating, right? Then John comes up. He's like, yeah, that's how I feel with yogurt. And Joel he looks at me and he starts laughing. So I'm laughing too. And John's like, fuck so funny, guys.
John got tight.
Yeah, it's just like phobia
Like, yo,
of
yogurt,
yogurt.
bro.
I haven't
Like-
heard of phobia of yogurt.
When John gets mad, it's so funny, bro.
He's so funny, man.
Yo, John is so funny.
He's a funny.
John
He's a
really is
character.
underrated funny.
Because he's just in his own world.
He's so unaware.
Bro.
He's so serious, too. I think
He's
that's
so
also
serious,
what's funny
but so
about it.
unaware.
He can so hear us too.
Yeah.
Oh,
for
yeah,
sure.
He probably
yeah,
can,
yeah.
unless he's locked in on editing, which he might be right now. He's
No,
locked in
he's so
doing
funny,
content.
A lot of
Yeah, our
content.
management just had to put us in the right position. They got us 2 interviews with Trey Sermon and with John Weeks, who's a 2-time Pro Bowl
Shout out to John
long
Weeks for
snapper.
39-year-old
cool
second.
dudes.
But then
he
from
locked
there,
in.
it's like, I mean, we met Charlotte Flair. We went and did some
Gary
trivia
Vee.
with Big E. We did a video with Gary Vee that went longer than expected.
Prince of Mukamar, shout out.
Yeah, you know,
Shout out to
we
Stay Hot,
got a
podcast.
Stay Hot
Care
podcast, do
Bear
some
for sure.
content.
Snapback
carrying-
guys. We did a lot.
Yeah, we really went crazy at Media Row, and we just got with the right people and stuff. And hopefully tomorrow when we're there, we're going a little bit earlier just so we can see these shows happen.
Joel, every single day this week, has
Why do you
said
keep saying
we're
this
going to be
early?
there at like 10 a.m. Eastern. And we end up, or 10 a.m., this time. And we
Yeah.
end up leaving at like 10 o'clock and get there at 11.
I forgot Shil Kapadia from The Ringer as well, if you listen
Yeah.
to The Ringer. I just want to get there early because that's when most people are there. Like, that Nick Wright's going to be there at like 2 p.m. because he does his show there. He's going to be at Media Row. I'm still trying to get a conversation in with Mina Kimes, but she's doing
trying.
NFL Live, and it's just, dude, it's just you have to be there early to see like the CM Punks of the world go on the Kay Adams show, and hopefully once he's done with the show, you're just waiting.
What time are we leaving tomorrow?
By you. I think we should leave at 9 in the morning.
Okay, so that means probably 9:40.
Joel.
That means 9:40.
Joel.
Here's the bullshit. Go ahead, please go.
You know what's been the most
mad.
aggravating part of all of this?
It's his fault.
Is that I'm stressing because, first of all, logistically, this shit has been a nightmare. Because every day we're going at a different time. Every day we're supposed to be doing these different things. And then I have to tell my job, like, yo, these are the hours I'm going to be on. So I'm over here stressing, like, fuck. Like, they want to leave at 8 a.m., 9 a.m. I told my boss it would be on till like 10, 10:30. And I'm over here, I'm like, oh, my God. And then every fucking day comes around, and it's time to go, and it's 9:45, and nobody's ready. And I'm like, I was stressing this over nothing. I'm sitting here chilling. Like, I got all my shit packed. I'm ready to go because I'm like, I have to make sure everything's prepped because once they get off this call, we got to dip. And nobody's ever ready.
Please stop saying nobody.
Sorry. Joel's just
literally this fucking guy.
It's 9:55 this morning. We gotta be out the Airbnb at 10 a.m. Joel's like, hold on, I gotta do this piece of content. he's got the camera set up. He's like, these are the 3 reasons why the Seahawks are gonna win the Super Bowl this year.
Dude, I got it out before 10 in the morning. Don't look at me and act like I don't be ready. I'll be ready to go. I'll be 100% ready to go. I do. I'll be 100%.
Well, tomorrow it's tomorrow's all or nothing because that's it.
Okay, obviously, but listen, today, or I should say, today, the reason why we didn't go earlier was because we had to go to a brand new Airbnb spot.
We did.
Because I mistakenly got 4 nights instead of 5 nights. That's why. But had we gotten the 5 nights and we stayed at the other Airbnb, then I think we would have gotten early to Radio Row.
We wouldn't have gotten early tomorrow, though, because we would have had to move. You know what I'm saying?
I get you. So, like, today is all or nothing. Yeah. I also want to get a question off to Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee has been very generous in just, like, answering fans' questions and stuff. And I was, like, the next person up, and then he had to go do his thing. Took a selfie. I might appear in the selfie. I don't know if he's going to post it or not. Yeah, no, he posted it for sure. I'm there. Oh, I'm 100%
there. You go.
There.
W.
I'm 100% there.
Let me take a look.
Yeah.
No,
But
quite
that's
literally.
what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't have to be an Instagram post, but like posting on the story, that's real. Yeah, I'm 100% there.
Oh, for sure you are.
I'm 100% there. I was so ready to ask a question, and then he had to go. And I'm not saying I'm not grateful. Like, I think it's really cool what he's doing. I'm just saying, like, if he takes a selfie, I want to have access to that picture too.
No, I understand.
W.
Yeah.
It's been a great week, man.
Putting it on the stories is real. Yep, it's real. But in the midst of this media row, the week, a lot of NBA stuff has happened. Now, let's just get the elephant out of the room. Giannis didn't get traded. Shams is under fraud watch. A lot of people are questioning his credibility now. And also, John Morant didn't get traded. So those are 2 names that we thought would get traded this trade deadline that didn't end up getting traded. Now, we're going to go down a list of big trades first. Yeah. So big trades, and then we're going to go and talk about under the radar trades, and then we're just going to give one winner, one loser, and then that's it. That's going to be our trade deadline recap for you guys. So let's start off with the big trades. Anthony Davis gets traded to the Washington Wizards. The Mavericks receive Chris Middleton, A.J. Johnson, Malachi Branham, Marvin Bagley, and I'm sure Malachi Branham moved to a brand new team as well. A 2026 first-round pick, a 2030 first-round pick, top 20 protected, and 3 second-round picks. And the Wizards got Anthony Davis, Jaden Hardy, D'Angelo Russell, Dante Exum. And now the Wizards have, in the span of like a month, gotten Anthony Davis and Trae Young on the team with developing players in Trey Johnson, Alex Sarr, Keyshawn George, and if they continue to tank this year, top 10 pick in this upcoming draft. But if they don't, then, the Knicks are very happy because they have the pick if it is not within a certain protection.
Well, so. AD's probably going to miss a chunk of the end of the year.
Not all
Trae Young, they're probably going to keep him out for a while. And the Wizards are ass. So there is no getting back into the race. They will have a top 5, top 7 pick. But first of all, very shocking news. Very came out the blue with it. Didn't know Washington was super interested in Anthony Davis.
It was awesome.
This feels
Wish
like
you were here with
a
us.
damaged goods package. I tweeted that because I feel like, Anthony Davis, we know when he's on the court, he's a top 15 player in basketball, top 15, top 20, whatever it is, however we feel about it. But the problem is being on that court consistently, being healthy enough to give it, do what he does on both ends of the floor. And I think that's why you get a deal like this where it's a Chris Middleton. Like, Dallas didn't get any youth back in this deal. It's just a 2026 pick from OKC, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Yeah, from OKC, and then a 2031 pick. So not a lot of value. But for Dallas, they didn't really have a ton of draft capital. So just to add up on what they didn't have is a plus for them. Anthony Davis played, 15, 20 games for this team. He barely suited up for this. And this just goes all back to, you should have never traded for Luka. This is just going to keep going back to that because it starts from that. But as for Washington, what are you building? I think that's the question of the day. You have Trae Young, who's a little bit of damaged goods too. You've essentially got him for nothing. He's going to be He's going to be on his last year of his deal next season. And then you got guys like Keyshawn George and Sarr, who's been playing really well this year, improving in their game. And then you got guys like Trey Johnson, who you just drafted, last offseason. And then you're probably going to bring in another guy, whether it's 1, 2, or 3. You're probably going to bring in DP or AJ or whoever it's going to be. So you're going to have a top 5 pick coming in, along with vets like AD, and then you have Trae Young, and then you have your 3 young guys, and you still have Bilal Coulibaly. So you still have this roster that, is young, is youthful, bringing in another guy, and then you have AD and Trae Young. People look at the East, and it's always some type of, parity going on, whether it was Indiana making the finals, whether it was New York coming back from Boston and, being in the ECF. Whether it was a team like Orlando getting into playoffs, it's always, and now Detroit right now being the number 1 seed in the East. There's always something. And I think Washington is looking like, why that can't be us, and why shouldn't we make these moves for guys like Trae Young and AD, which they didn't really send off nothing. It's a cool buy low deal. I'm interested to see how everything fits. But I do think Washington has their mind in the semi-right place, just because the East, it's always funky in the East, and you didn't send anything off too much to get Trae Young and AD. It was kind of like free deals, in my opinion.
It was a weird deal, honestly, a bit of a weird trade deadline, because the 2 biggest moves come from the Utah Jazz and the Washington Wizards making pretty huge moves, right? Anthony Davis, of course, being banged up this year changes some things. But it's not either deal what we were expecting. We already covered the Jaren trade. If you missed that, it's on the last video that we uploaded. But for the Anthony Davis trade, I really don't know. I understand the thought process between both the Trae Young and the AD deals, where you're really not giving up much. I mean, and realistically, the Thunder first-round pick this year is probably going to be 29 or 30. Yep. And then you top 20 protected pick. So it's basically like 4 second-round picks and a late first for Anthony Davis and some salary filler in there. So like it's weird. It's just weird because, of course, looking at Washington, they've been so bad for so long. They were going with this youth movement, and they were getting players that were really starting to develop, especially Alex Sarr, Trey Johnson. But it did feel like, similar to Utah, you're kind of just stuck in this spinning wheel that you don't really have a player right now that you're looking at saying, like, this is for sure going to be our franchise guy. You're getting, I think, some really good, flashes from these guys, but nobody, like, obviously, like, you got drafted Cooper Flagg, right, and Wemby, and these guys that just bursted onto the scene, and you felt like, okay, this is our franchise. It's very clear. We understand where we're going, moving forward. For Washington, it's more so we have a collection of players that we really like, but how can we fill out the rest of the roster to, really make it easier for them and to, I guess, try to compete in 2027. And with Trae Young and Anthony Davis, it's 2 guys that can't stay healthy and can't stay on the court. So you didn't spend much. So I'm not mad that you're putting like your chips on these guys, because if it doesn't work out, you wash your hands and you're not saying like, oh my God, we have no first round picks for the next 5 years. Like, no, you're still going to have your picks. You're still going to have these young players, and you're still going to have a future. It buys you this mini window to be somewhat competitive. I don't really have high hopes for Washington. I think their ceiling is probably like a 6 seed next season, just because I can't trust Anthony Davis to stay healthy, and I can't trust Trae Young to stay healthy. And Trae Young's been regressing the last few seasons. And then you have a bunch of young players who are going to have to get used to playing with 2 guys who are going to have the ball in their hands 80% of the game. So it was a surprising move, but for the price that you paid, I think it's fair. Anthony Davis, when he's on the court, if you could get him to play, 55 games in the regular season and he could be healthy for the playoffs, it's a huge upgrade from what Washington fans have been dealing with over the last few years, where it's just been you're one of the worst teams in basketball. Nobody's really talking about you. You're not even making the play-in. You're not really sniffing the play-in. So to be able to get 2 stars, quote unquote, and Trae Young and Anthony Davis, I think it's a step just to show your fans and the NBA that we're looking to be competitive next year as these young players grow.
Why'd you quote unquote?
Don't you guys think that
I
is?
don't know if Trae Young's a star.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you were scared for 80 thing. You scared?
Don't you guys think it's odd that teams in this trade deadline made moves for next year? I get it with Indiana. It makes sense because they're getting Halliburton back next year. That makes sense. That's an exception. But the Wizards are playing for next year. The Jazz are playing for next year.
I don't think the Wizards have their pick next year.
Well, I'm talking about like they're playing for next year. Like that move they made is so
No, I'm saying
next year.
I think that's why they made their move.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Essentially, 2 teams that are lottery teams are going deeper into the water and saying, we're making these trades because next season we want to be very competitive, which usually trades are made, especially of this magnitude, when you want to compete now, when it's about like this season. I want to get better now. And not to say that's what Washington and Utah should be doing, but I think it's about them trying, more so Washington trying to set a foundation and a culture to win basketball games. I think Utah has a better culture set right now with what they're doing. But it is odd. Like I think they are buying low on stars, at least Washington is. I thought Jaren got traded for what his value is pretty much, even though the first round picks that Utah gave up weren't that crazy. But they're buying low on stars, and they're saying, hey, next year we think that we can make a run of some sorts, whether it's the playoffs or a plan or whatever. But I just don't know what it gets you, and that's the oddest part of it all. I just don't think that it is a necessary move for teams that are in this stage of the rebuild.
I think a big reason why they're doing that is because of this NBA draft. The fact that these teams that are making these moves have a legitimate chance of one of the 3, Darren Peterson, Cam Boozer, AJ DeBansta. That's the reality. Because the Utah Jazz get one of those 3 with the core of what is going to be Keontae George, Lauri Markkanen, Jaren Jackson, and one of those 3. You look at the Washington Wizards, the core of Trae Young, Anthony Davis, Alex Sarr, Keyshawn George, and one of the 3. I see the logic. The Pacers as well. They made a move that we'll talk about in a little bit, but the protection is 1 through 4. They did that on purpose. They love the 4 top prospects, and of course we acknowledge the top 3 being what could be franchise-altering players. These aren't teams that are competing for right now. We know that. They know that their roster is not good enough to compete. They're going to continue to be one of these bottom barrel teams, but with a game-changing player in this draft, in one of the 3 that I mentioned, things could look a lot different. Now, I could be in the minority, but I see the vision in the Washington Wizards. Trae Young's weakness has always been defense, and Atlanta has tried their absolute best to put a great defensive core around him. And last year, they succeeded to a certain extent, but they never really had the consistent guard play, you could argue guard play, but consistent play at the big position as well. The Wizards have Sarr, who's one of the better rim protectors, one of the better anchors, and you just added Anthony Davis to now solidify arguably the best defensive front court when healthy. And you guys are right. This isn't a duo that you can trust to stay on the court. But again, the risk to reward is so great that who cares? They got 2 great players when they are healthy for essentially 1 first-round pick.
What's the reward?
The reward is a healthy Anthony Davis with Alex Sarr to put together one of the better defenses, and the ceiling of next season getting one of these top 3 players. Of course, if you're a Wizards fan, you're hoping for that because you've been he did get Sarr, which was fortunate because the Hawks shacked a fool and drafted Zachary Richichet. 100%. The Wizards got blessed in that regard. I agree with you. But the Wizards were unlucky last year in the draft and missed out on Cooper Flagg, missed out on Dylan Harper. It's like, you're hopeful for that top 3 pick, but that's what to be hopeful for. We have a great defensive foundation with Bilal Coulibaly being a part of that mix. Keyshawn George being a part of that mix. We see the way that Trey Johnson has been playing basketball this season. There's a lot to be excited about. It's just unfortunate the Wizards just aren't winning games. They have young talent, but now they're trying to put veterans around them with draft capital this upcoming draft that could change the way we view at the Washington Wizards. That's the upside of it.
It's just veterans that don't play and a veteran in Trae Young that dominates the ball and is going to stunt the growth of every player that needs the ball in their hands to develop that aspect. And that's why with like Washington, listen, man, they didn't give up much, so I'm not like terribly mad at it. But it's like you sped up a timeline that didn't need to be sped up.
Is it sped up though?
I think it is. I think now it's like if AD and Trae Young don't pan out for Washington, they can easily get out of that situation. But it is kind of putting an onus on this team and an expectation that next year you have to make kind of like a playoff push.
That's good.
It is good. But
by the way, they have their pick next year.
With Anthony Davis leading the way and Trae Young leading the way, I just don't think it was the right way to go about building this future team.
The Wizards are in such a hard place to get talent. Such a hard place. Nobody wants to go to Washington. You got 2 all-stars, albeit injured ones, for a first. A first. This is when you are this level of a team, when you are this type of organization, these are the marginal moves you have to make to improve your roster. I can't be mad at them. They are trying. We ask so often for teams to try. We ask the Jazz to try.
I'm mad at the AD trade.
I'm not.
They got Anthony Davis and Trae Young, and
Trae Young was a little
they added 2 stars, and I feel better about so many more East teams than them.
So many more?
So many more.
Like who?
So many. Well, to start out,
You feel better about Milwaukee, or you feel better about the Wizards
Milwaukee
moving
is
forward?
like the worst situation in the league.
And they have Giannis.
Yeah, I mean Giannis is probably going to get traded in the offseason.
We keep thinking.
I don't think he's going to be a Buck for life.
You feel better about the Nets, you feel better about the Wizards?
I feel better about Washington. I think
don't have
the
5
Nets are
players.
bottom dwellers. But do I feel better about Indiana?
What about the Magic?
Again, I feel better about the Magic. I feel better about the Knicks. I feel better about the Celtics, the Pistons. I feel better about Atlanta. Even though I didn't like the Kuminga trade, we'll get to that.
Atlanta?
Next year?
Yeah, I think more highly of Atlanta. Yes, I do. With the Pelicans' first-round pick that
Oh,
has
okay.
just as
Fair.
good of a, like the same
Fair.
ceiling argument
Yeah.
you make for Washington, you
Yeah.
make for Atlanta.
Yep.
And I
Yep.
feel way better about Charlotte. And Charlotte
That's a
didn't have
fact.
nobody.
They're
They
14-1 in
they
their
just
last
started
15, brother.
playing better, and they just got healthy.
We're all here.
Like, I feel way better about so many more East teams than Washington, and they added 2 stars, and I'm still kind of like,
Just feels random.
Okay, like,
Wouldn't you rather they try, though? That's what I want. These organizations so often get away with doing nothing.
Yeah, but
they're trying.
Do shit.
But their doing shit was bringing in Trae Young. Their doing shit was bringing in Anthony Davis to pair Alex Sarr, who has already proven to improve his game from his freshman year to his sophomore. And defensively, we already know the tools that he has.
Maybe I'm just so far removed from getting excited about those 2
Anthony
players.
Davis, I get it.
I'm
I get
so-
where your head's at.
I'm so far removed from being excited about Trae Young, and I'm far removed about being excited about Anthony Davis because when this Luka trade happened last year, we were here like, man, Dallas looks awesome. They're gonna have Kyrie and AD, and they're gonna be healthy. And AD gets hurt in the first game.
It's unfortunate because I know he's labeled an injury-prone player, but he's played a great amount of percent of games
Like,
over
if
these
he goes
last.
to Dallas, he's just.
It's the
he hasn't
Dallas,
been able to
agreed.
stay
Dude, he
healthy.
was on Dallas. Cooper Flag was the first pick, and he's playing at an elite level. And Dallas was like, we don't want AD. Get him out of here.
That was kind of stupid of them.
You think
I don't
so?
think
I think the Mavericks are losers in this.
I don't know. I think that the Mavericks made themselves a little bit worse this year, and that's a good thing because they don't have their
They
picks.
sold the lowest
future.
possible on AD as
I don't
well.
think there was a better deal for him.
I agree for right now. Don't sell him right now.
I mean,
Listen,
right
I'm
now,
out.
what is the deal going to be?
Can you let him play when he comes back to play up his value?
You can't
get
let
hurt
you
again.
can't let him play up his value when he might not play.
Okay, but that's regardless then. It's similar to another trade that we're going to talk about in Garland. You traded Garland as absolute lowest. You're trading AD at his absolute lowest, and this is the player that was the core piece.
AD's also like 6 years older.
I understand that.
Did you trade DG for his lowest?
No.
Right now?
And I
James
think
Harden?
we can get to that trade right now because
30,
that's
what,
another
37
big
years
trade.
old?
Still elite.
I mean, trust me, he's been playing great. But again, you traded a young star.
That's fair. Well, how many better deals are you going to get, though?
I think for Cavs who want to compete this year, it makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. If they was rebuilding, I get it.
But you didn't have, again, that's a team that didn't have to rush it.
I'll be honest, that is a team that I feel like did. I actually
The
feel
Cavs had to rush?
Yes.
I rushed, but they kind of
I do.
knew. Like
All their
they knew
players
the
are
end.
under 30.
Oh no, I feel like they had
knew the
to
end.
make
Yes.
a move.
You saw the Rich Paul video where he was saying like he because you know he's DG's manager or whatever it is agent.
Yeah.
And he told him and DG had a conversation last offseason. They said, "Yo, this is your last year in Cleveland." And
That's
they talked-
insane.
Yeah, they talked to
It
Kobe.
makes sense. We've been talking about
Yeah.
it
But
the
the
last
trade,
few years.
I actually loved it for Cleveland. They got James
I
Harden.
like it too.
The Clippers got Darius Garland, and I want to shout out the Clippers. I think the Clippers are doing
Easily.
the right thing
Easily.
by loading up on young assets. They got multiple first-round picks by trading Zubac. They got a first-round pick by trading them. Well, they got
Second-round
Darius
pick.
Garland and a second-round pick by trading James Harden. And so now you have Garland, Benedict Mathurin, first-round picks. You have some future assets to maybe retool this team because everything that they own essentially is via OKC now. Like they have all that stuff. So I think the Clippers did a good job at trying to like manage their assets. But Cleveland, I felt like this was a necessary move to rush the timeline. This was a team that to begin the season they started out very bad. They didn't look good at all. They had a lot of injuries. But as recently, they've been playing much better. But Garland got hurt again. And you now bring in James Harden, who James Harden's a better player than Darius Garland, even at 37 years old. Will he be better like a year or 2 years from now? Who knows? But I think Darius Garland's toe is a serious concern because since that toe injury, he just really hasn't been the same. Maybe he can find his footing, no pun intended,
He's been good
with
lately.
LA.
Then he got
But
hurt again.
Harden, he's durable. Last two playoffs, he's averaged 20 points and 9 assists on solid efficiency.
My God.
He's gonna give you really great games in the playoffs. Yeah, he's not
He's gonna give you stinkers. And
he's not gonna listen. He's gonna give you stinkers. That's what James Harden is. But he's gonna give you solid production in the postseason.
I mean, you
He's
can't.
gonna
It's not like
manage
you
the
can rely on
offense.
Garland in the playoffs, like so you can't really.
But
be
the
too
other
mad.
move they made was like getting Keon Ellis and getting Dennis Schroeder. Like I feel like the
I like those.
Cavaliers, they needed to make a move because they're saying this year the East is open and we need to be better, even if it's marginally, even if the upgrade from Garland to Harden is marginal in people's eyes. I think it's a significant upgrade when you take into account that Garland just does not play in the postseason. That's the thing. Like I think even when you account Harden's postseason stinkers, at least he's playing and he's going to give you some really good games half the time. Yeah. I think that's an upgrade. With the way Mitchell's playing, Jalen Tyson, Sam Merrill, they have 3-point shooting, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen. I just think that the floor mapping, the playmaking ability, the passing, the understanding of the flow of the game, Harden just does that at a higher level than Darius Garland. As great as Darius Garland is, Harden's one of the best floor generals in the league, and I think that he uplifts the entirety of the Cavs roster. And they can make an East run with this move.
I think it could be an upgrade, but also an upgrade that doesn't matter. Like, I'm not looking at the Cavs now with James Harden and viewing them any differently than I did with Darius Garland. You could talk yourself into what Joel's saying where, well, Darius Garland hasn't been able to stay healthy, and some of his limited playoff times, he hasn't really been able to step up and play at his regular season form. But I still look at this Cavaliers team, and I don't know how you still don't have questions, right? Like James Harden averaging 29 in the playoffs is dope. He's going to have games where he shoots 3 of 14 and he has 5 turnovers and he disappears. And if you have a couple of those in the series, which James Harden is going to do, you're looking up saying, like, what did this really change? I understand why the Cavs made the move because we were going into this season saying, like, listen, the last 2 years ago, you were injured against Boston. You lost 4-1. This past season, you go up against Indiana. We all picked you after a great regular season, number one seed. They were number one seed last year, right? Mm-hmm. We expect you to go to Indiana. Again, you got banged up. You lost to Indiana. We looked at that as a huge upset. So now you're going into year 3, and either, a few things happen, right? Either
Is this 3 or 4?
Well, I'm saying just in the last couple of years with, I guess it's been 4 with Donovan Mitchell, but they lost to the Magic, the first one, right? So, like, you're going in. You're right. Yeah, they lost. Again. Exactly. So you're going into 4 years now where you haven't been able to get past the second round. And the last 2 seasons, you've had some serious injuries to your top guys really outside of Donovan Mitchell. So how many years can you just kind of run this thing back when you've had year after year after year disappointing playoff losses in the second or first round? So getting James Harden is an immediate upgrade. I agree with you. I think he's a better player than Darius Garland is right now just because of all the injuries Garland has. But I still don't look at the Cavs as anything other than like a dark horse team that can maybe win a playoff series. Like if they're going up against a series against the Pistons, they're going up against Boston.
Wait,
they're going
maybe
up against
win
New York.
a playoff series? So you're saying
yes?
You don't think Cleveland's getting out the first round?
I think the Pistons, the Knicks, and the Celtics would all handle them.
No, they would not handle them.
What?
They would definitely be favored.
You
at a
think
minimum.
Boston would handle Cleveland?
Yes.
Yeah.
So Jason Tatum, is this under this
With or without
scenario?
Tatum, I think that's a 6-7 game series that goes.
Okay,
either
you're
way.
talking about what you
Without
need.
Jason Tatum, they're handling the Cavaliers.
What you need to remember is the Cavaliers are not the same team come playoff time ever.
They were not healthy.
And
That's
they're
their
gonna be healthy
MO.
Yeah, but
They're never-
Darius Garland was like the biggest guy.
Mobley
that wasn't healthy.
Mobley was
Brother,
injured
James
last
Harden
year.
might as well be injured half the series.
Jared
Give you
Jared
injuries.
Allen
Wouldn't.
Jared
What
Allen
the
misses
hell?
time every
That
single
doesn't make
year.
sense.
Mobley was injured.
Mobley was injured. Jared Allen's injured
wasn't.
every single year.
That's what they both missed the first 2 games.
The only reliable player is Donovan Mitchell. Oh wait, he also got hurt.
Against the Pacers, the biggest thing that held the Cavaliers back in that series
Was Evan Mobley being injured?
it wasn't even Mobley. I thought it was Garland because they didn't have any playmaking. They didn't have anybody to sink in the defense. That's why. And then Mitchell injured his ankle, and then he really only settled for outside jumpers. I think Cleveland, you're underselling the talent on that team.
No,
I think they have
it's
9
being-
to 10 players in that
it's-
rotation that can play in the
It's
playoffs.
the way that you kept the energy with the Wizards, which was right.
You just, bro, he told
Which
me
is
that
right.
The Celtics would handle
Okay,
him
what the
without
Celtics
Tatum.
what the Celtics have shown this season is to
Who's
be
been
one
a
of the
better
most
team this
consistent.
year?
It's like not close.
The Cavaliers have been much better as of recently.
They have
What,
been.
the last,
They
like,
have been. Yeah, I was
the
gonna say.
last 12
Like
games.
they were going to be what? Like they're
He's- you know, he-
they're a
No,
top
they're
five
fourth.
seed.
They're fourth. They're fourth right now. But they're a half game up on Toronto,
they
so it's
went
not nothing
from,
nuts.
Like the 9 seed to the 4 seed. The
They were never
Cavaliers,
far off.
yeah,
they
the
were never
Cavaliers
far
are playing much better. I don't think that any of those teams are just going to handle them. I think the Cavaliers' floor is the second round. I think they will easily get past the first round.
The Knicks will handle the Cavaliers. The Pistons, with the way that their defense has been playing, I think the Pistons will handle them as well. Now, Boston without Tatum, I can understand the immediate freak out reaction. They have been the better team all season long. All season long.
If you want
they've
to talk
been.
the last 12 games, whatever, bro. I'm not looking at a 12-game sample size being like, nope, it's different now. I think Boston from beginning to end, and I understand we have all this talk about Tatum. They made a nice little move for Vučević, which I think is a big help to the big rotation. That's a series that goes either way. Maybe Handle was a little bit too strong, but I think Boston goes into that
I understood the
that
sentiment.
series favored.
I understand the sentiment. It was just they would be underdogs in those series. That's not wrong.
I think Cleveland has just as good of a chance.
Okay,
as
and what about the Sixers?
anybody to make the
Sixers
finals?
can beat anybody.
I was gonna say, and what about the Sixers? Sixers are the 7th seed right now. I would take them over. I think 6. Excuse me. I would take them over the Cavaliers.
Okay, so
They're two injured teams. Your numbers
okay,
are black.
okay,
And that's
so-
a fair point.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, it's just at this point, it's basically propping up other teams, ignoring their flaws and believing in them.
How?
But using the worst possible case scenarios for Cleveland.
It's not
Because
worst
you're
possible case
telling
when
me-
this is what happens
because
every year
you're-
with
because
Cleveland,
you're
and they got
telling-
James Harden who's
and what
not showing up
happens
in the
with Philly?
playoffs.
What
Yeah,
happens
I
with
never said Philly. They're not going to.
No, but Drew said Philly. Drew said he trusts Philly more.
I didn't say
They're
no.
more
I said
of an
if they
injury risk
played,
than Cleveland.
if they played right now, the way that they are playing basketball, I would take the 76ers because Joel Embiid has been the best version of himself that we've seen in 3 years.
James Harden is averaging like 26 points and almost 9 assists per game.
And Embiid's averaging like 35.
I think James Harden, 35 points?
I'm exaggerating, obviously.
I mean, my goodness.
No, D. Mitch has been better than Embiid this year.
Fine, agreed. But in this most recent stretch that Embiid has been Embiid, there's been very few better.
The Cavaliers traded for a 25-point game player that's third in the league in assists per game. And if anything, I mean, this move is more so about Donovan Mitchell. James Harden is not coming here to be number one option. He's a complimentary player. I think it's about getting Mobley involved. It's about getting Donovan Mitchell involved. And I think Harden will do a better job of that. Not that Darius Garland didn't do a good job, because he did. They just weren't healthy in the playoffs to really showcase the full version of themselves. But I think Cleveland has a really good shot at making a finals and making it out of the East with this move. I think they give themselves a better shot.
Embiid over his last 20 years averaging 30 points. I just want to acknowledge.
Okay, I know Embiid
and he's also been he's averaging 27 this season.
By the way, the Celtics are 10-5 in their last 15, and the Cavs are 11-4.
So it's about the same.
No, but again, what the sentiment was though is the Celtics have been this team.
Yeah, but it's just the Cavs have been so much better recently when it's like they're just kind of doing what Boston.
And now
No, they've been playing better basketball, which is true.
And now we are going to get from this point forward a 3 to 4 month sample size of new look Cleveland with Harden.
Good point.
And what I'm expecting that to look like
Make
is
it out the East
really
is
elite.
nuts.
I think
that's going to look amazing.
I think
Say
It
it out
should.
loud. You
It
trade
should.
for James Harden and go to the finals.
Okay.
I think you
Just hit it for Vučević.
We won a chip 2 years ago, bro.
I mean, no, it's
We're talking about past things now. We're in the present. We're in the present talking about the past.
Am I up
Come
here
on.
talking about the Boston Celtics are coming out of the East?
You
no.
said they
say
can
it.
handle them.
You can say it.
They can handle
I'm not going. I don't think they will.
You're-
I
okay,
think it's
you're getting caught on
ridiculous to say the
verbiage.
Cavs are coming out of the East. I think it's ridiculous.
I
to
think
say
it's
that.
ridiculous
Wait, so
for
how
you to
many
say that the
teams-
Celtics would handle the Cavs in the
can I
series.
There's a
Without
better chance they get blown out in the first fucking
Yes.
round because Harden has a stinker, Mobley isn't healthy, Jared isn't
not
healthy.
true.
Then
No,
they go to the
it's not
finals.
Actually,
That's
that's,
not true.
incorrect. They haven't lost in the first round in like 3 years.
Fair.
So that's factually.
But
Well,
they
they lost-
haven't been to the finals since LeBron James.
and listen, I didn't say that.
My whole argument is I think
So that was-
Cleveland with this move at least put themselves in the tier with the top
If
East
you
teams.
saying Cavs go to the finals, crazy. You saying you're not gonna say that for Boston? Who in the East would you say that for?
Well, I think who has a better chance than Cleveland because I do think while the East is open, I just don't buy into Cleveland. I don't buy into this roster. I don't buy into this team doing anything in the
If they're
playoffs. 'Cause they
healthy,
haven't
it's not
shown
nuts.
me anything like to believe that they're going to do anything in the playoffs. So I still think the Knicks, the Pistons, and Boston all have a better chance.
Bro,
would
get the
take-
fuck out of here with Boston. I'm tired of hearing them. Boston don't, bro. It's
You're
crazy.
geeking up about the
No,
wrong team,
no, it's
bro.
Bro, Briv, is it not crazy to say that Boston's gonna make the finals without Tatum than Cleveland making the finals?
That's what I was gonna say is that you and I get what you're saying. The way you guys have been playing this year, you guys have been playing incredible. Also, I'm not discrediting that. My question is, you saying for Cleveland, they have showed you who they are in the playoffs for 3 years. That's fair. You're right to say that. Boston has never showed you who they were without Tatum in the playoffs.
That's fair.
That's my only thing. So is it fair to have just some caution there because you've never seen this team without Tatum in the playoffs?
No, I mean-
he's always been your leader in damn near every.
Listen, you can make an argument for every team in the East why they
Which
won't
I
make
agree.
it out. The Knicks with KD or with Cat and Brunson, that's going to get picked apart. The Pistons have no real history outside of last year. It was the first round exit. Like all of these teams you could pick apart. Right now, I trust what I'm seeing with my eyes. The Pistons in the regular season, they gave the Knicks a hell of a run last year. Boston, Jaylen Brown's playing the best basketball of his career. And New York is more talented than Cleveland.
Yeah, I think it's a healthy medium that we can find here. I think it's okay to be cautiously optimistic with Cleveland. First of all, to get off DeAndre Hunter, who has been a shell of himself in the offensive end this year, has been huge. You know, bringing in guys like Keon Ellis, and I'm blanking on who. Schroeder, yes. Well, I think Schroeder's a calm little backup, which kind of gave me that indication that they were probably going to move off Garland to try to find a point guard replacement that is more available. And I think availability is the first part because I think last year you saw Donovan Mitchell late in the games because he doesn't have that other guard, because he doesn't have Evan Mobley. You see him get completely gassed out. Like this was a Cavs team that I believe botched both games in Cleveland. Like just completely. I remember especially one, they were up like 16 late in the fourth, and they just could not get nothing out of Donovan Mitchell. He was super gassed. That's when he hurt his ankle. So to have that availability, and I get it, Harden does not play well in the playoffs. I'm the first guy to tell you that for sure. But, you know, you still have some type of gravity. It's good moves. I do like it. I think it makes the team better for the regular season. I do think with Cleveland, for me, it's just been the mentality of this team. And when things don't go the way they want it to go, how do they respond? A lot of the times this year, I've watched this team. If the three ball's not falling, that means their defense falls off a cliff. Transition defense, rebounding, toughness, But when the 3-ball is going, you can see this team be the best of their ability on all phases, passing, getting to the rim, 2 feet in the paint, making the extra pass, making the skip pass, transition defense. I mean, when the 3-ball is there, everything is going. So for this team, I feel like it's about mentality. I am excited for guys like Sam Murrell, Max Strus when he gets back, Mobley and Allen. But I don't. What Dell's saying isn't far off.
Just not falling for this gimmick, man.
And then listen, I don't blame you for it.
It's not falling for it.
I just think every team I could probably dissect in the East.
You can.
You know?
I mean,
you
it's one thing. I mean, I understand not trusting Cleveland. I mean, Cleveland hasn't shown an ability for you to trust them. But I think that right now in the Eastern Conference, there aren't a lot of trustworthy Eastern Conference teams. At least within this regular season. The way the Knicks have been playing basketball recently, I think they are the best team in the Eastern Conference, the way they've been playing, the way Jalen Brunson's been playing. But you can't ignore Detroit either. Like, I think those are the 2 teams that in the East you trust the most. I don't think
that's true.
I
love Detroit.
The Tier 1 East teams right now as we stand, I think, is Detroit and New York. The Tier 2 teams, I think, is Cleveland and Boston. I don't think Boston is in that first tier ahead of Cleveland, especially after these moves.
What about Philly?
There's 2 different tiers. And I love Detroit. I love what they've done. I think their identity is real.
So I think 1A, 1B at best.
Is real. I don't think Detroit. I think regular season wise they've separated themselves, but I still think there's questions about the offense. There's questions about that secondary creator and who's going to be the other guy when Cade's getting double teamed. Who's going to have the ball in their hands and how. Is the shooting going to hurt them as much come playoff time? I think with New York, it's going to be the defense. It's going to be Cat in the playoffs and stuff like that, and then Brunson in a bunch of ball actions and stuff like that. I really feel like there is no tier gap between all these teams. I think it's just 1, 2, 3, 4. Like the East is so.
Well, that's why I feel like
that's
why I feel like the Knicks are the best. Yeah, I feel like they have the personnel to match up with any team, at least perimeter defense on the wings against these other top teams.
So why aren't you pushing them? Why are you saying the Cavs are coming out?
I said they can come out. I didn't say they will. I said they can, because I do see a scenario where the Cavaliers can make the NBA Finals, and I think these moves made them better. I think the Knicks are the favorite in the East, and I think it's been that way since the beginning of the regular season. They are the favorite, and there's been a stage where Detroit felt like they were gonna do it, and I feel like they're still the number 1 seed in the East. You got to respect Detroit, and maybe those concerns will show up in the playoffs. But they just have gotten so many leaps from other guys that we have to see if those regular season leaps translate into the postseason. But the Knicks, it's been a tale of different teams for them, because the path to the NBA Cup, they were elite. Then after they won the NBA Cup, they looked sorry. They looked awful. They were getting blown out by bad teams. It was terrible to watch. But since that players only meeting with Jalen Brunson leading the charge, the Knicks, you can argue, have been the best team in basketball since that point. So I think there's been 3 different versions that we've seen of New York. And then I love the additions of Jose Alvarado joining the team. I think it gives it some better depth. But, yeah, I think the Knicks, they're experienced. Philly, there's a lot of wild cards in the East.
Get to the playoffs.
But I just, Harden.
No respect on Toronto?
They're tricky. They're a tricky team. They're kind of like Detroit for me to a lesser degree.
I was going to say their defense is elite.
Yeah.
Dallas, what's the starting lineup for Boston without Tatum in the playoffs?
Well, now it's Vučević.
Yeah, it's interesting because yesterday or a couple of games ago, obviously it's the first game without Simons, but Jaylen Brown missed. There's been talks about Pritchard going to the bench.
They really went to go get Vučević.
Like is it Pritchard, White, JB, Vooch, and Walsh in the line? Like that 5th start, I think it could change game to game. Like Missoula has shown, just it could be mine. Mine just got moved, but like there's been so many different. Sam Hauser, it'd probably be Hauser, I would imagine, at the 4, and Vooch at the 5. It is small.
And that versus Harden, Mitchell, Tyson, Mobley.
Always fries Boston.
They do. He does.
You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, no, I just think Cleveland's really talented top to bottom.
I mean, we just beat Houston by 20 without Jaylen Brown. Like this is one of the best. This is one of the best coached teams. The Celtics are deep. They have young players that could show up. They could defend. They could guard.
Derek White is amazing. I mean, simple as that.
I know that Celtics don't have the sexy names. They don't have the big names, but they haven't had the names all season long. They've been a top 3 seed all season long. They've had these big wins all season long. So yeah, lineup wise, Cleveland's more sexy. But I mean, they've been more sexy the last couple of years. Hasn't done anything.
Now the center that was linked to the Celtics was Zubac. I don't know if there was any reporting, but it felt like whenever people mentioned the Celtics getting a center. Zubac was the first name that popped up.
Would have been perfect.
But he goes to Indiana.
They paid up
And
for him.
the Pacers got Zubac and Kobe Brown, and they sent Ben Mathurin, who, shout out Young Simba on Twitter. He's a Pacers fan. He DM'd me very early in the season when Mathurin was balling. And I'm like, man, Mathurin looks amazing. He told me, yeah, he DM'd me on the side that he's not going to be here. Trust me, he's going to get traded. And he ends up getting traded for Zubac.
He knows his
The
Pacers.
Clippers get Mathurin, Isaiah Jackson, a 2026 protected first, 1 through 4, and 10 through 30. So if it lands between 5 and 9, it will be the Clippers pick. But if it doesn't convey to them, then they'll have a 2031 unprotected first round pick, and they have a 2029 unprotected first from Indiana, and they also got a second round pick. Nice retool for the Clippers. Mentioned that earlier, but now the Pacers eyeing to next season with Tyrese back, getting Zubac at center, and then getting one of the top picks in the draft. It feels like Indiana is retooling to be back in contention next year.
Yeah, I think this deal is super interesting. Super, super interesting. I think the style of play is going to be interesting to watch for Indiana. I don't know if Zubac is that type of guy that's going to be running up and down the floor. He can do it. I think, excuse me, something got in my throat. I think Hallie and the pick and roll game is going to be interesting with Zubac. A pick and roll, a roll guy who can get to the rim at will. I think that's going to help a lot. Zubac, I think he's still a top 10 center in basketball. He's really good. Rebounding will help for sure. Indiana's been needing a center, and I think there'll be a cool little retool next year. I think the picks part is the most interesting thing about it. I feel like we all knew Mathurin.
Need some water, bro?
No, I'm good.
All right.
I feel like we all knew Mathurin wasn't going to get extended. I feel like that felt like the vibe, and they kind of expressed that early on.
He's the sixth man, Cam Thomas.
Probably a little better.
Okay.
A lot better, I'd say. I mean, he's still in the roster. He's still young, you know.
Sorry, Joel.
The pick is interesting, though, because 1 to 4 protected, 10 to 30. If it gets to 5 to 9, I instantly thought Clippers, wow, they have a lot of options they can go to. They can go JQ from Kentucky, you know, at the 5. They can go Keaton Wagler from Illinois. Like, it's going to be interesting because if the Clippers get that pick back, that's going to be, all right, we at least have something we can build off of, a foundational piece, because there's going to be a lot of talent coming out this draft. But that also means, I feel like this also means Kawhi's got to keep them afloat so they don't give a lottery pick to OKC. That's got to be the thing. Kawhi's got to keep them afloat. When DJ gets back, he has been playing well as of late. Somebody that can help you. Mathurin is also another scoring, athletic guard that can kind of help you too. So the youth movement is cool. Who's going to be their 5 for the Clippers? I think that's something. I think Giannis is now going to come up, and they're going to go more into these youthful guys. But for Indiana, good gamble. I like Zubac. He's still relatively young. He fits the timeline for this team. You still kept all your core guys, Hallie, Neesmith, Nembhard, Siakam. So you kept the core, TJ McConnell, of course. So just going to have to – if you get this top 1 through 4, you get a guy like DP to pair up with Tyrese or AJ, whoever you want it to be. This still could be a scary duo. But if they don't get that pick, I like what Indiana's done with, you know, bringing in Zubac to be the 5.
Now, how concerning is it that the Pacers traded their 2026 first? I know there's heavy protections on it, but there is a 50% chance that it might not be in the top 4.
That's why I call it dangerous, because it's you're taking a gamble, and I'm sure. Shout out to the Clippers for not lowballing Zubac. Like, nah, we need. However, we're gonna get this pick. We're gonna get this pick. We don't have much in our 2026 jewelry box. Indiana definitely took a gamble, and they got to continue to lose too. That's something. That's another thing they got to stay in it. They're one of the 5 worst teams in basketball. Continue to be that to give yourself a chance. But it's a tricky, dangerous game that they're playing with. I believe the Pelicans are playing with the same game where they have like a top 3 protected pick somewhere or whatever it is. But it's interesting because Zubac must have been really high on their board to send that pick out.
No, yeah. I mean, there's like stylistic fit concerns with the up-tempo pace Indiana plays with. He'll add a different dimension as a post-up player, but I don't know. Like, Zubac, I think, is a really good move for Indiana. But the 2026 first, I'm kind of more excited about that than Zubac in general, and it is risky if the Pacers, I guess, it wouldn't matter anyway, because if it's in the top 4, they have the pick. So the only way they would not have one of those generational players if it falls out, and it feels like at that point they're okay with that. They're okay with the pick being 5 through 9. But why are they okay with it then being 10 through 30?
The 10 through 30 confused me for
Yeah.
sure.
It usually it's
Well,
a little bit weird.
I think it's okay with 10 through 30 because it's not going to happen. They're not going to be in that 10 to 30
But
range.
it's just like, why even have it in the first place?
what
Why
you
just
said.
like what? Now it's just
well,
not 1
it's-
through 4
well,
protection.
Gives yourself, I guess, more safety.
Yeah, I was gonna say like, God forbid, like we really botched the lottery.
Get the
We'll
13th.
have our pick. Fine. Is it a good move because it's a good move, or is it a good move because it's Zubac?
It's an interesting question. I think they needed a center.
I understand that logic because you lose Miles Turner, you lost that presence because Siakam's not a 5. He's not a 5 at all. He is a true power forward. You needed a big presence. Isaiah Jackson, obviously injured. You were playing a lot of J Huff. Not ideal. You needed a big. But was that the one for you? I can understand this is the best available. It fits our timeline. Tyrese comes back. Tyrese can work the pick and roll. But is he that?
They didn't call Claxton.
The one way, like, if you really, really try and glorify this is, it's hard to understand which type of style of play they're going to go to. Like, are they going to be that type that are just going to go out there and run? Because now you're out there thinking that they're going to get and run, but now they actually slow it down, run the pick and roll with Tyrese and Zubac, or get Zubac in the post. I guess in that way of trying to make this best case scenario, there's so many different ways they can beat you now with Zubac on the team. Fine. But I think this was the right move, wrong player, and that's not a slight to Zubac, who is at his best top 10. You could argue he's a top 10 center right now. It's just, was this worth the gamble of missing out on your top 10 guaranteed pick? That's kind of where I'm at. That's my only hesitation on this move. On the Clippers side, the Clippers were on a mission this trade deadline. I would have loved it a little bit more if they were just like, we're done. Yeah. It's over. Kawhi's gone. Zubac gone. Harden gone. This is brand new. We put ourselves in such a hole with this Paul George trade, not trading him for anything. We are at such a deficit. Let's just go in a full retool, rebuild. They're holding on to Kawhi because he's Kawhi, and I think he has so many ties to LA that even if they wanted to move him, Kawhi would have made it near impossible for them to come to an agreement.
And they're still paying him under the table.
True. Allegedly. Yeah. But the Clippers are finally coming to grips with the reality that it's not going to happen with this core. They tried it with James Harden to try and give them a little bit of a boost there, but the reality started to set in, unfortunately for them, that as good as Harden and Kawhi were playing, and they were playing some really great basketball, the Clippers were finally starting to hit their stride. They realized, was it worth it to just be a potential play-in team? Is it worth it missing out on this opportunity to get a young guard in Darius Garland? Is it worth it to miss out on an opportunity of having a top 5 to 10 pick next year in the draft when we have a negative amounts of assets? This gave them a little bit of a youth movement. Combine that with Kawhi Leonard, who's going to obviously still be playing some great basketball. God willing, he's just able to stay on the court. But for Indiana, I want to like this move more because Zubac is a great player, but I'm just not sure if he's the one to unlock what they need.
At the very least, the Clippers are choosing to pick a direction, but I don't kind of betting against the Pacers being good in like 4 to 5 seasons is betting against a prime Tyrese Halliburton, because when Tyrese is 28, 29 years old, I think that the Pacers are still going to be one of the better teams. I think he's one of the best floor raisers in the NBA. And, I mean, his impact has been felt this year with him not on the team. They've, like, completely bottomed out. And that pick in 2031, like, it might not be a high draft pick, but I guess it's some good compensation regardless, nonetheless, for Zubac. I think that Zubac offers some things that just comparing him to Miles Turner, like, didn't offer. I think one of the major things is rebounding. Miles Turner can space the floor. He can be a protector at the rim. He can block shots. But I think Zubac is probably a better overall defender than him just because he's a bigger body. Yeah. He's a better post defender. He's made top centers struggle defensively before in the past, and he was just the anchor of the second-best defense in the league last season. And then rebounding, I mean, he's like a guaranteed 12 to 13 boards a night. Miles Turner was giving you like 5, like 6. And he's away from the basket more. But he's also just not the rebounder that Zubac is. He's a poor rebounder for his size. So I think that maybe those trade-offs Indiana's okay with. Like, okay, maybe we're not going to be as fast and up-tempo, but Zubac is going to close out more possessions for us. He's going to be a very solid defender for us, and he's going to give us an aspect in the post, and he can work in the pick and roll. It's obvious with him and Harden. They were able to be fantastic. So I feel like they're like, we can live with a couple of those trade-offs if we're getting that from Zubac, which they feel like completes their center position.
And I think they will. I think that Zubac has shown you enough over these last few seasons to understand the consistency in his game. So I can understand that part, but their speed is what got them to the finals.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, the reason they were so good, even the year before where they went to the ECF, and I know Boston won 4, but it was a really tough series, is because they just play so differently than everyone else in the NBA, right? Like, they're not a team, they can win in the half court, but they're not a team that's going to do that consistently. They're going to be able to get on transition, get mismatches, get 3-on-2s, get 4-on-3s, and beat you that way. I think for the Clippers, though, value-wise, it's hard to find a deal that's going to be better than this, right? They were holding on to Zoo all season long. There was reports that Boston offered them a first, a swap, and Anthony Simons. And I compare that deal to this deal. It's like, yeah, this is a much better deal, right? Benedict Mathurin, I think, has higher value than Simons does right now. And you're getting either a pick 5 to 9 or 2 unprotected first-round picks when Boston was offering you a first and a swap. So to get 2 potential unprotected first-round picks, as well as an intriguing young player in Benedict Mathurin, he's had flashes throughout his career where Benedict looks like he could be a real flamethrower potentially off the bench, a guy that can maybe average 20, like someone that brings real juice and real scoring pop. It's exciting for the Clippers, right, who don't have their draft picks, so to be able to build for this next iteration of whatever this LA Clippers team looks, to get Garland and Benedict Mathurin in back-to-back trades, as well as 2 first-round picks, to move off Harden and Zoo to aging players. I think it's really good business for the Clippers. And Indiana's just betting on we're going to continue to be who we were when Tyrese is healthy, right? I think the biggest question is just when you get back from that Achilles, what does that look like for Tyrese? Do other injuries pop up? Obviously, we don't want that, but we've seen it with other players when you have these massive injuries that other injuries pop up later in your career. But Indiana's just banking on, no, when Tyrese is healthy, we're going to give him this whole year off. Siakam is still in his prime. We're still going to have a runway here where we're going to be at minimum a playoff team, and we're not going to bottom out. So it makes sense for them. They're getting an upgrade at center. Desperately need a center since losing Miles Turner. It's a obviously different type of player, but Zoo is great. Great player, one of the best centers in the NBA. He offers you something on defense, offers you something different on offense, but still is a plus offensive player. So I think it was a good move for both sides.
Yeah. There are other moves that happen that I categorize as big trades, but they're not big trades. Porzingis going to the Warriors.
Weird.
Hawks get Kuminga, get Buddy Hield. I would be in on the Warriors deal if Jimmy Butler was healthy. I actually feel like if Butler was healthy, you getting Porzingis.
Also, Porzingis is healthy.
Exactly.
He's still sick, right? You traded Kuminga, who's getting DMPs and not playing, for another guy who's not playing because of sicknesses and stuff. And he's expiring, right?
For Atlanta, it felt very odd to take a swing on Kuminga, given that they have Dyson, Alexander Walker, Jalen Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
They have a lot of wings there. It felt weird that they would take a gamble on a.
They probably just thought Kuminga can at least play. You know what I mean? He's just been DNP'd, but he's healthy and he can play.
He's mad healthy.
I think
the Hawks.
I think the Hawks lost this trade because I would rather just keep Porzingis on an expiring deal and play out the year.
Well, Kuminga's only got one year after this, right? There's a 2-year deal.
2. I think it's a team option for the third one.
Okay, so
but there was no picks, I believe. They ain't said no picks.
Yeah.
With Atlanta, maybe their goal is Kuminga rejuvenated a new situation, playing well. They can trade him for something. But overall, it's Atlanta. I really didn't feel like they needed to make a move. They made their move, and Porzingis, when he's been healthy, he's been good for Atlanta.
Yeah, I think they just thought of it KP's. We're probably not bringing him back. Let's take a swing on Kuminga. If we don't like it, we can move him in the offseason or, just figure out a way to get him off the team. I think Porzingis was the goal was never to have him there at the end of the year. The goal was always to trade. You essentially didn't have to give up no picks for it. So a little buy low type of swing. I get it though. he doesn't fit in the roster. Like he doesn't fit at all. But he's a guy who's available, who's ready to play, who's been getting DMPs. As for Golden State, if KP was healthy, I'd be all in. I'd be like,
be awesome.
Yeah, this is a great addition for Draymond, but I don't know when he's gonna play. And then Steph's been banged up too lately. So, and then Jimmy's out for the year. So all this excitement literally died like 3 weeks ago. So, because his team was rolling. You know, they started to get their groove in, and then boom. So just Steph / hoorah.
Yeah,
it's unfortunate.
I was gonna say I know Butler goes down, changes the whole season. But for the deadline move for Warriors fans to be Porzingis, I understand why a lot of fans are upset.
But what else was there for them to do?
No, I get it. There's not much out there. Of
like
course,
literally would have been
Giannis,
Vooch. Like literally would have been Vooch.
Yeah.
And I, honest to God, not that Vooch has been playing bad basketball. Let's not say that. But I will say, if he is healthy, this is a solid move. You've been looking for a big for a long time, especially one that could stretch the floor. Kristaps Porzingis does exactly what you need if you're the Warriors. Perfect fit, literally like a glove. It's just, is he going to be available? And if that's an unfortunate question. But for the Hawks, what are they doing? I don't know what the Hawks are doing. It's really starting to confuse me. Because I guess you're trying to see what you can get out of Kuminga. Fine. The fit with Golden State was obviously not working. The two had such a soured relationship that it got to the point where it's just straight DNPs, just not even giving him an opportunity to see the court. But why is Atlanta the team taking the swing on this? Yeah. What's their direction? I really am struggling with Atlanta's vision right now. But nevertheless, for the Warriors, I never thought I'd be saying this, but I want better for them. Like, I want better for Steph to go out. And it's been super sad to see Jimmy go down and him be out for the season. Steph has been such an amazing contributor for you guys. Just no fall off in his game. He deserves another chance, and I think this is what the Warriors front office was trying to do that with KP. So I respect them for at least giving it a go.
FO sucks, man.
The harsh reality about players that stick with one team their entire careers, the latter years, outside of a few exceptions, are always abysmal. Dirk Nowitzki with the Mavericks, Kobe Bryant with the Lakers,
at least, like,
Steph with the Warriors.
At least Dirk wasn't that good. So
I was going to say.
All right.
Whatever, just ride it out.
Like Kobe, like last Kobe, like, all right, this nigga is nice.
Nice?
Like, bro.
He's like the guaranteed top 10 still.
Yeah, easily. Like, that's why it's like, bro, it's getting frustrated because it's like, bro, he can still, on any given night, show you best in the world. Like,
I mean, they brought him Jimmy Butler. He just got.
No, I'm not mad at the Jimmy deal. I'm more mad at the fact that you've botched this years ago.
I mean, Kobe's lineup was like Jeremy Lin and Nick Young.
You look back, and it's the 2 years back-to-back while the Warriors were mid that they needed to capitalize and didn't in the draft. Those 2 years ruined the future.
Like, you didn't even get a contributor, really.
No.
No.
Moody, it's sad because I think Moody's a decent role player.
Yes, they shout out to Moody, but
yeah, but it's like, damn, bro, like,
it's just Kuminga and obviously Wiseman.
The other trade,
and you hate Pods, and he's like the lone good role player they drafted.
I don't know why he's still around.
Nikola Vučević goes to the Celtics, and they get a second-round pick, and the Bulls get Anthony Simons in the second-round pick.
I don't know what's up with Chicago. Oh, my God.
Yeah, the Bulls have added a lot of guards to their team. We'll talk about them later. We mentioned the Vuce thing a little bit, Good center. Celtics got him. They didn't have to give up much for him.
We got to lock in. Stop
Simons
yawning.
Was really good off the bench, but
he was really good.
Yeah.
It's Vučević at least gives him a big body. They were relying a lot on Queta, and now I think they have a more reliable big in Vuce.
Yeah, Vuce is a starting center in the league, and they didn't have that before.
Yeah.
Shout out to Queta, shout out to Luke Garza. They was holding it down as much as possible.
Shout out to Luka.
But Vučević is a starting center in this league. How good he is not the question. They just needed another body. Somebody who can at least give you some pick and pop options and stuff like that. And Vuce was playing well for Chicago. And plus, realistically, you was trying to move off Simons. It's an expiring deal. You traded away a guy who was playing well off the bench to a guy who can start for your team. So I think this is a win for, Boston, just getting a guy who can be a starter, be a contributor. For Chicago, dude, I don't know what they did this deadline. It was very just – it was just a lot of whole we don't know what we're doing, but we're just going to answer the call. And if somebody throws up a trade, we'll say yes and then figure it out when the deadline's over. But
I believe they don't have a player over 6'9" on their roster.
I think it's only Vučević, right?
He might be the tallest, and Zach Collins, I think, is still.
Yeah, so it's like
That's pretty funny.
okay, Chicago, good job, but as for Boston, you got to start in center for nothing. So.
Yeah, I think first of all, a lot of Celtics fans were upset at this trade. Simons quickly became a fan favorite. He obviously the scoring punch. Simons was basically doing what he was doing in Portland, but he was just in Boston now. So I think more especially Boston fans, just eyes lit up more. But yeah, Simons, when you watch him play, it's like, holy shit, this dude is Dame Player, right? Yeah, exactly. The threes, the athleticism, right? He does a lot of shit that catches your eye. But basically, since the moment they traded for him, it's like, all right, who are you trading him for? You know what I mean? That was right when they made the Drew Holiday deal. That was basically the vibe that everyone got. And they tried, the Zoo trade. There was rumors about the Claxton trade. And it just seemed like the price was probably too high for some of them. Vučević, who I believe is expiring at the end of this year, you make this move, and I agree with you guys are saying, right? You had Keita, who had been giving them awesome minutes, really stepping into the starting role, and I think playing better than you could have ever expected. He's been great for them. I won't even be surprised if there's moments where Keita's starting over Vuč, and you have Vuč going in some of these bench lineups to go up and attack some of these, backup bigs. He fits for the offense. Of course, they want to do a lot of spacing, a lot of three-point shooting. We know what Joe Mazzulla likes. A lot of the moves Boston made because they traded Mina and a couple other like marginal moves to get below some of the tax lines. Tillman got released. I think he got traded to the Hornets technically, and they released him. But either way, they've made a lot of marginal moves to get below these different tax thresholds. So they're avoiding like the repeater tax and of course the second apron stuff. So I was reading something that I wish I remember the guy's name, but they're basically setting themselves up to be able to spend whatever they want from 2028 to 2030. That's where they're doing. A lot of their picks in the future, which would have been frozen, are now going to be unfrozen because they're not in any of these, tax issues that they got going on. We'll see what ends up happening with Vuč. Does he come back, for a smaller deal since he's on the contender now after being with, Chicago for so many years? But all in all, you moved off Simons, who, if Tatum comes back, it's like Pritchard, D. White, Tatum, Jaylen Brown. Like, that's like 5 ball handlers now that it just didn't really make sense to have Simons as opposed to a big that you desperately needed.
It's just a move to get a guy in the building to make sure that when free agency hits, it's easier to keep him because he understands the organization. And I think that Vuč has been wanting to win for a while. I mean, I've seen vlogs of him in Chicago, and he just looks fed up and miserable all the time. Like even earlier this year, the Bulls won a game against the Wizards, and it was close, and everybody was happy, and Vuč was the only guy that was pissed off. Like,
Mazzulla guy.
We're terrible. Like, we suck. Like, we almost lost to this sorry team. Like, this isn't something to be happy over. Like, I think Vuč in a winning situation like Boston will see the best version of himself. He can rebound. He can space the floor. And I don't think the market for him in free agency is going to be that big to the point that Boston has to pay a lot. Like, I think they can get him back on a mid-level exception. I think a minimum is a little different. I don't think he's a minimum player, but I think they can get him back on a good team-friendly contract to where, now you have half a year to understand each other, to see the fit, see how he likes Boston, and it'll be easier to get him rather than free agency hits and you're kind of bidding against other teams and other organizations. So I like this move for Boston a lot. But there was a lot of under-the-radar moves that happened in free agency, and I want you guys to name one under-the-radar move that you're high on, that the move that happened and you're okay, I think this isn't being talked about enough and can make a really big impact for this team.
We'll go first, just in case somebody steals one. I really liked Hornets getting Kobe White, Minnesota getting Ayo Dosunmu. I think as Ayo's been a guy who's been on Chicago's roster playing really well, just a solid on-ball defender, developed into a good shooter, cool ball handler, really good in transition. Just a guy that's kind of been under the radar. Chicago, one thing about Chicago, pumps out good guards. That's one thing we can say about them. They've pumped out good guards. Yeah,
Dillingham next.
And Ayo is Ayo and Kobe are one of the two. But Ayo going to Minnesota, a guy who's been shooting, if I'm not mistaken, it's 41.2% from three. Could be wrong, but it's in the 40s. Drew, maybe you can fact check me while you're over there.
Dosunmu is shooting about 40%.
Yeah, he's shooting a sniper clip, and now they're just building a roster that has a ton of shooting that's going to open up the floor.
45% from three.
45?
45.
Oh, Jesus fucking I was way off. But 45 is nuts.
15 a game, bro. He's been hooping.
Yeah, just opening up the floor for Randall and Anton as a guy who was a contributor on the defensive side. And then Kobe White to Charlotte. They've been a top 15, I think it's probably even higher than that, but they've been an elite basketball unit for like the past month and some change. When their big four players are like 14-1 together or some crazy number like that. This team it's been operating on all cylinders. And the thing I love the most is when a guy like LaMelo, who's maybe he doesn't get it going, in the scoring department, but is still being a magician with the ball as a playmaker, putting in that effort on the defensive side, using his 6'7" length to bother the defenses and stuff like that. Brandon Miller, they understand now where one guy got it going, feed him. Brandon Miller's been awesome in the pick and roll. And then Khan being his, usual consistent self from three-point line. Miles Bridges has been a contributor for them. Diabate. Jesus Christ. Diabate has been really good for them.
Diabetes.
I did. He's been really good for them on the boards, protecting the rim. Cal Brea has been really good as a backup. They're bringing a guy like Kobe White to kind of just keep this going where he's not the same Colin Sexton, but I think he's a little bit better in the sense of better three-point shooter, better ball handler in the sense. I think this is a guy who can play off LaMelo and Brandon Miller, and he continues the flow of what you want to do. I think Charlotte is really pushing for that play-in, and I think they deserve to get it. I think they should get it. You need some type of winning environment in the building. You've been losing for a while. But those are my two under the radar moves.
It's not. I don't know if this move's under the radar because it's potentially the favorite to go back to back, but we haven't talked about it. Is Jared McCain going to the Thunder? We talked about the Thunder. We talked about it really all season long that you have all of these draft picks and all this capital. It's like you're not going to have the roster spots in the future to be able to make all of these picks. So to move off one of your first and a few second round picks to get Jared McCain, I think is a great buy low. Is it fair to say buy low move for Jared McCain? I mean. It wasn't too long ago, 1 year ago, where Jared McCain hits the league on storm. You're like, holy shit, this guy's moving like Steph Curry and Clay and hitting these crazy threes and moving all over the court off the ball. I think it's a really good move. I think it's a really good move for the Thunder. You get some extra shooting. I know he hasn't been shooting well this year, but the opportunity has kind of wavered here and there. And you've had VJ burst onto the scene, and Max even playing all NBA level, and Paul George before the suspension was playing so great that he kind of well they said it was his mental health medicine, but
come on.
Either way, I think it's a really good move to get a guy that a year ago you would have said was probably untouchable for Philly right before the injuries and everything went downhill for Jared McCain. But for the Thunder to use one of their first and second round picks, they have a plethora, a bounty chest of these draft assets to go get a guy that's 21 years old on a nothing contract for the next 3 seasons. I think it's a really good move from Sam Presti.
I don't want to say Luke Kennard to the Lakers could really help him out.
Well, he's one of the best shooters in the league, and he gave up Gabe Vincent.
But the way you worded the prompt, the fans are going to be saying, "Oh, well, Drew's gassing up a play to mid." Which, hey, Luke Kennard is a sniper. One thing he can do is shoot the basketball at an elite clip.
And he's at least a rotational player.
I just hate the Lakers, man. They just so often just leave me wanting more, and it's annoying. But tonight, great game from Reeves. He's back. I mean, the guy, just one thing he can do is score that basketball. He was on a heater. We were down double digits. We came back and won because he's just so damn great.
Reeves or KG?
Reeves.
I voted Reeves.
Yeah.
Comfortably.
Yeah, Reeves was on pace to be an all-star this year.
Comfortably. And the only reason I'm not saying the other move is because, Joel, I want you to talk a little bit more about our New York Knicks. But getting Luke Kennard, the Lakers just were going to sit on their hands. And I will actually say I'm happy they did this. I'm happy they didn't go nuts this trade deadline because there was no need to. You are not playing for this season. You are playing for next year. LeBron most likely will not be on the team next year. You can make moves to better this roster, more money to spend. You did not need to make a move. You do not need to lose any more assets. Wait for this offseason because apparently there's a world where we have a sign and trade with a certain player and we could be having one of the best duos this game's ever seen.
Okay. Giannis to the Lakers this offseason. I see it.
Heard here first.
Yeah, I see it. Jose Alvarado to the Knicks, I think, is okay. I think he brings a lot of energy that the Knicks have needed. I mean, I've told you guys about the insistence of the Knicks to have highly passionate players that get in your face and play with a lot of toughness on a night-to-night basis. I think Alvarado fits that bill. I think he brings a lot of energy to the team. There's a lot of guards, though. Deuce McBride, Alvarado, Tyler Kolek, Jordan Clarkson, Landry Shaman's back and healthy and playing really well. I don't think that Alvarado, like, for some odd reason, all the reporting this entire time has been like the Knicks have this, like, very, very high interest in Alvarado, and the deal finally got done. But I felt like the Knicks more so needed another wing because when OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges are on the bench, you have Josh Hart that comes into the game. He's been coming off the bench recently, as of lately more when Mitchell Robinson doesn't start games. Sometimes they rotate that, though. And really outside of him, there's not another like 6'5" to 6'7" player on the team that you trust that can play. Like, you don't trust Dadier to come in and play and have minutes. So, like, I thought a more incessant need for the Knicks was to get a wing. Like, my dream scenario was Najee Marshall, like, this entire deadline, but that didn't happen. Alvarado, I think, is, like, marginal, but I think the biggest upgrade from a team this trade deadline that was under the radar was Minnesota. I know they were in the Giannis rumors, but all they needed was to get better guard play because they weren't getting it from Dillingham. And I would assume it was now averaging 15 this year. He has size. He's 6'5". He can play defense. He can get out and run in transition. He can space the floor. This is a high motor player that I think fits like exactly what Minnesota's identity is and what they want to be. And now you have like 48 minutes of Dante DiVincenzo and Ayo Dosunmu back-to-back. Like, you're going to have them for the majority of the game, and I feel like that's just huge for them. Like, and that's what they needed. That's what they needed.
That's crazy.
Those are two good players.
He said
two
now
good
you
ball
have
players.
them back-to-back, 45
40,
minutes.
That's what you needed because when Dante went on the bench, you had Mike Conley come in,
Jesus.
who's a fraction of the player he used to be.
Legend.
Legend for sure.
So it's just now that you have Dosunmu, like, you have somebody that's reliable, and that's what they needed. And I think Minnesota, they've been playing some good basketball. Anthony Edwards is having the best year of his career. Randall's playing like an all-star. Gobert's still playing like a defensive player of the year. Jaden McDaniels has gotten better. Dante, like, that starting five with Dante and Jaden, Randall, and Gobert is one of the best five-man lineups in the NBA. They just needed a better bench, and they just needed to add depth. And I feel like with the loss of Nickeil Alexander-Walker, maybe Dosunmu's not going to be that good, but, I mean, he can be, like, most of that, which I think is important.
What happened to the Terrence Shannon leap, man?
He just really hasn't done it. I think he's just been too inconsistent as a scorer. I just think that
He's still like 26, clock's ticking.
yeah, I mean,
Clock's
listen, he
definitely
needs to be better. He needs to be better for sure. But I think Minnesota, they got better. Like, out of all the under the radar moves, I mean, you mentioned the OKC thing. I mean, at that point, I mean, what the hell are you gonna do? I mean, OKC can outbid anybody. They got Jerry McCain for nothing, and now it's like their ball handler problem gets fixed because AJ Mitchell broke out this year, and now they have McCain too.
Yeah.
But yeah, Minnesota, I really like what they did.
I think McCain, starting to struggle this year, coming off that injury, lost a lot of his burst and his wiggle. Starting to figure it out lately, but you could clearly see Philly was off him. Like,
Which is insane.
It's a
They
bold
gave up
move.
so quick.
It's a bold move.
Yeah, got a first round pick from it.
First and
Yeah.
2 seconds or 3
Yeah,
seconds.
it was crazy. It was definitely out of left field. I thought they'd give him more time, but VJ, I guess, playing so well. Paul George, when he gets back, he'll be good. Kelly Oubre's been good for them. Maxi's obviously been a dog.
Legend.
You don't have a lot in the guard play now without McCain. You really didn't have it either before because he wasn't playing well. But it's definitely interesting to give up on a guy who, if he stayed healthy last year, could have won Rookie of the Year.
Yeah. The other under the radar move, we talked about it earlier, was just the Keon Ellis and Schroeder to Cleveland.
It's a good move.
That's really the only one that I can think of that, like, really moves things.
Yeah, it was solid.
And Cleveland, I think, has really done a brilliant job at just getting off clear negatives this year. Like, Darius Garland,
Hey.
I'm not mentioning I think Garland's fine. I just think the durability concerns are
Did you just call him a clear negative?
He did, right?
No.
Low-key.
I wasn't
Not
talking
even
about.
low-key.
I wasn't talking about Darius Garland specifically.
He just got brought up after you say clear negatives.
No, because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't talking about Garland.
Oh, okay.
I'm mostly talking. I'm talking about Lonzo Ball, who's
good.
been one of the worst players in basketball.
6 man of the year.
They thought they could rely on him, and he was awful. And
Hey,
then
he's playing with his brother now.
DeAndre Hunter went from a 40% three-point shooter to 31% this year. He hasn't been able to shoot the basketball. Like, I think those two players have been clear negatives for them. That's why I didn't want to say Garland, because Garland has been productive when he's been on the floor. But getting off of Lonzo and Hunter and then bringing in Keon, who I think has been dying to play basketball.
Itching.
Sacramento hasn't played him. I think he's really good. Schroeder, who had good moments with Detroit last year, and then Harden. I think that they did a really good job in the deadline to become a much better basketball team.
That's been made very obvious this podcast.
Yeah. One of my winners. That was one of my winners. One of my losers. The Chicago Bulls are just doing a lot of stupid shit. So I think that's why they're a loser. But if I didn't say them, I think the Atlanta Hawks are a loser. I mean, you get nothing for Trae Young. Then you trade Luke Kennard, one of the best shooters on your team. And then you trade Porzingis for Jonathan Kuminga. What Atlanta has done, trading Trae Young, fine. You're off of him. Okay, whatever. You're building this around Jalen Johnson. How does trading away a great three-point shooter benefit Jalen Johnson? And how does adding Kuminga benefit Jalen Johnson, if that's your vision of building around Jalen Johnson? It doesn't make no sense. So I think their trade deadline, they just did a lot of dumb things that didn't make sense either.
Yeah, I think for me, my loser is going to be Milwaukee. Just for the simple fact you didn't get off Giannis. I don't understand.
I mean, how does that make you a loser, Riv?
Because I feel like you had to pull the trigger. I feel like, honestly, I feel like Giannis is low-key a loser too in a sense.
I was going to say he didn't. Milwaukee didn't lose. He lost.
You've been
wasting all of our time.
Yeah, you've been wasting our time, teetering, saying things.
I told y'all he's not leaving. I've been on that side for years.
All this nonsense, and I feel like Milwaukee, you should have known. We gotta do it ourselves and move off this guy, man. This is not gonna work. Milwaukee's in the deepest holes as they can be. They can't draft. They don't have any picks to draft with. Their roster is very, very low on young talent. Shout out to Ryan Rollins. Hope he can find a better solution to that. Just keep hooping, my boy. You'll get out of here soon. Winners, though. I like the Clippers. I like what they did.
Yeah,
I
that's
like
easy.
getting DG, 26 years old. If he's healthy, he can give you something. Play alongside Kawhi. You still can get 20 and 10 from him. I like that they got that pick. I think it's going to be interesting to see where it lands. If you don't get in the 5 to 9 range, you get 2 unprotected first down the road, but it's still valuable to a degree. But if you do get in the 5 and 9, my mind is thinking Keaton Wagler, Jaden J-Cube, just going to say it like that. Don't know how to say his last name. Thinking Koa Pete. My mind is just thinking draft, where the Clippers going to go, get your scouting on, bring in a blue chip guy, because I think outside the top 4, I think there's still going to be blue chip guys. I think there's still going to be guys that can be all-star level players, like Flemings and guys like Labyrinth Filon and stuff like
Max
that.
Eisenberg.
I think there's a lot of studs in this draft. So shout out to the Clippers for getting that. And then Mathurin, sneaky, athletic, physical, can get to the rim. Probably going to have to pay him soon, but how much young talent do you have on this roster? So now you got him. You got DG leading the charge. Kobe Sanders, who's been really well in his short, limited minutes. Yannick at the 5, who's been really well in his short, limited minutes. So you're starting to build this regime of just young, youthful talent that you kind of didn't have. You have an old roster, so you need some youth nowadays in this NBA.
Yeah, my winners are going to be the teams that actually tried. And that's teams that we've grown accustomed to them being very, very mediocre. So I'm going to go and shout out the Wizards. I'm going to go and shout out the Utah Jazz. I love the Jaren Jackson move, especially with the idea of Walker Kessler coming back next season. And for the Wizards, I love the idea of Sarr and Anthony Davis together. I can understand that it's a gamble because Anthony Davis has been injured since he's become a Dallas Maverick. But when he's healthy, he's undeniable. And I get that that's becoming a huge if. But I've watched enough Anthony Davis to acknowledge that he is, when he's on the court, one of the 5 best defenders in the world at the absolute worst. So to them, I give credit because they're finally taking swings and finally taking chances instead of just sitting and doing nothing and allowing themselves to be mediocre, because they still will have a strong chance to be winners on draft night as well. And my losers, I'm going to go with the Sacramento Kings. What did you do? Nothing. You sat on your hands yet again, and you gave away Keon Ellis and Dennis Schroeder for a bag of peanuts. It's a sad organization that we're watching, and they continue to mishandle their assets.
I would love to run the Kings.
Yeah, I think it's doable.
I'm calling everybody, bro. Give me something.
Please take all of these bad players that we don't want. I don't have too much. I mean, we talked about basically every team that made a move in terms of winners. I like what the Clippers did, getting the young players. I like what the Jazz did. I don't think you give up any crazy valuable asset to get Jaren Jackson, who's a great player. I like what the Thunder did, getting Jared McCain. We talked about it, getting an extra shooter, getting an extra ball handler, which is like the one thing we've kind of been talking about for the Thunder. So I don't know if there's anyone new to discuss there. Loser, I'm surprised no one said Detroit. Like, number 1 seed.
Fair.
You know, Joel was just talking about Riv.
They're being too patient.
I think you can. Riv, you were talking about it too. Like, there's no gaps in the East right now, right? Even though Detroit is comfortably in first place in the Eastern Conference, you look at the roster and you don't really look at it and say, oh no, yeah, like this is multiple levels above Cleveland and Boston and New York. They had, and again, we don't know what the prices are for these players, but nothing, like moved off Ivy, right? Like, but to get nothing back that is going to be real contributing minutes in the playoffs that you could rely on, whether that's a shooter or secondary ball handler, something, it feels like a miss.
No, I agree. And that's going to do it for this episode of the Pick a Side Podcast.
One more question.
Yeah.
John Morant, winner or loser? I say winner.
He's a winner. Grizzlies, in that one particular instant, loser.
Yep.
I mean, he's still in Memphis. I think he's still in.
They're going to build around him. They're going to build around him.
I think him going to Miami.
And that's what I was saying on the last time we spoke. I'm worried that they're going to try and build around him again.
They're going to build with him.
I think that keeping him doesn't necessarily mean they're going to build around him, because I don't think they're going to make moves to complement Ja on this roster. I think
is going to be there.
Ja's there, and whatever they do, he just.
I think if he buys in, though, it's up.
Do you think he will?
Does he seem like a buy-in type of player?
Seems like he loves Memphis. He has the Memphis tatted on his back.
Yeah, he's gonna be.
He actually has the entire.
He's gonna have a Sam Darnold
fucking
comeback story.
Miami was willing to offer him 3 years, 178.
You saw the offer that Memphis wanted?
Yeah, it was like Jaime
or Khalil. I think Rozier to make the money work, and then a pick or two.
That's not nuts.
That's actually not nuts.
Yeah, there might be one other player, but yeah, that was the bones of it.
Well, how would they want Jaime? They got Cedric Wells.
I don't know.
Weird team. Yeah. But that's going to do it. Episode 550 of the Pick a Side Podcast. Thank you guys for watching and or listening. You guys can follow us on TikTok and Instagram at Pick a Side Podcast, on Twitter at Pick a Side Pod, and on Facebook at Pick a Side Podcast.
Love you,
we have
Facebook.
a Facebook